Hello, everyone, and welcome in to Blue Otter League's Masters. We're in playoffs here. We got Lane 0 Blizzard versus Ember Phantom5. I'm Ozzy, joined by When It Rains. Hopefully When It Rains is doing well. I'm doing well myself, and I hope everyone at home is doing well as well on this Monday. I know people are probably getting off of work and are very tired, but we got to lock in for a best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing pretty well. I'm looking forward to casting this game. It should look pretty fun. Obviously, Masters, being the highest division, expecting to see a lot more. Anyone who knows me knows that I normally cast Draft, which is not Masters coordinated. It's usually Fiesta. There's some ridiculous stuff going on. But hopefully we'll still be able to see some interesting stuff over here. Maybe some interesting picks. Obviously, MSI just concluded. Meta kind of been shaken up a little bit. Mage's bot are a lot more prominent now. Thank you. I've always been preaching it. We got some cool, interesting picks in top and mid. Saw some really fun support, lots of roaming. So I'm expecting to see a lot of early game action.
Yeah, especially like the big thing with like the whole support thing is like Mage bot lane has enabled the supports to kind of run the map as a second jungler essentially. Like your wave clear is essentially just so strong throughout majority of the game that you can't get punished as a mage. So it allows your support to be free and spread their wings of love across the map. But already bans coming through. We got Tristana Samira coming in from lane 0 Blizzard. As for Phantom5, we have Bard and Senna. I do appreciate the Bard ban. I think Bard definitely a strong support when we're in a very roaming support badass. That's literally what he's designed to do, but we'll see what the last bans come through are.
I was about to say, it's also in part due to that catch-up XP. We've seen this a lot in metas where laners tend to be more self-sufficient in bot lane, either through lane swapping something like a Scion down there and moving your ADC up to bot, or just keeping bot laner down there when they're able to, is supports will roam a lot, sort of starting at level 3. They'll be lower level than the rest of the map, and they'll come down about, level 7, 8 when the rest of the map is there, and they'll get all that catch-up XP, and in a minute, they're caught way back up to the rest of the team, and it lets them kind of slingshot this early game value. And it can be really, really incredible to see, especially when you have like a coordinated team going for insane dives, and Wukong, one of the champions that can really facilitate those with the clone.
Yeah, funnily enough, we actually didn't see a whole lot of Wukong come through at MSI because a lot of other jungle picks were often prioritized over the Wukong, and then of course Wukong being banned in certain drafts to deny things like the Orianna Wukong, because J4 was also super high priority, so that was usually either getting first picked and then you play Wukong in game 2 with an Orianna, something like that. But the Ahri is going to be the answer into that Wukong pick for Ember Phantom5 here, as I suspect hopefully a jungle pick here. But I want to say, usually I myself cast a whole bunch of M600. That's kind of where I'm at right now. For both Aegis and Titan, so I definitely have been around the block in terms of these players, but I'm hoping that these teams have finally kind of caught up to the meta. Usually for them it takes a little bit longer than something like a pro team to kind of attach to a meta, so we'll see if we get the wish of the mage bot lane coming through today.
Yeah, and maybe we'll see. Mel and Ziggs kind of have been the main two, and with Ziggs banned out, okay, well, especially into the Nautilus, can be a bit dangerous, right? You can eat that knot hook, but it will throw you right back into the Nautilus, so have to be a little bit careful. But Charm Deflection is very good. It is also just a pretty good matchup into the Ahri if you want to throw it mid lane. So right now, a bit of a flexible pick. I wouldn't be shocked to see like a support answer, and just sort of leave that Mel flex up there. It's also incredibly good with Wukong, right? You land a root, or if Wukong dashes in, gets like a good slow off, Mel can follow up very easily, has a lot of really good damage early game, pretty good wave clear. Obviously the ults and fights are really strong. Leona, also a very good pairing with Mel, so sort of daring Ember Phantoms to call them on this, but they're just gonna insta-lock the Lilia. They knew exactly what they wanted. And it seems like Ember Phantoms are going for a lot more of this catch potential, a lot more of this long range CC. You know, you have the charms, the Ari dash, you have Lilia and her bowling balls, you have a Nautilus setting it up. Um, so I'm excited to see what happens. Obviously, the Lilia being able to kind of cut through that Mel W is going to be really important.
Yeah, do need to keep in mind though, Mel can also reflect the lilting lullaby, so that is
That
something
is true.
that
That
can
is true.
happen. So gotta keep our eyes out for that. But I won't lie, overall for Ember, like Phantom, they have a lot of pick potential, especially if the Nautilus is unlocked out of the lane. Can kind of roam around the map with Ari, but I'm not necessarily the happiest with their 2v2 potential with Lilia Ari early. I think it's kind of weak, especially into something like a Wukong. Of course, mid still pending here for lane 0 Blizzard could still be this Mel, right? But the flex still available, as will be some 80 carry bans coming through actually from lane 0 Blizzard. But the Galio ban, smart choice here from Ember to shut down one of the most prevalent anti-mages in the game. Used to be Caston, but we no longer live in that world. But you know, in the coming days, as in when League Classic launch, we'll get the height and the power of Caston back, which I'm extremely excited for. Keep your eyes out for April. April? Oh my god, it is July. July 29th. I don't know why I'm like off. But anyways, for League Classic, but bans coming through, finishing up. Of course, the Vayne as well, being banned
I like the
away.
Sivir ban a lot.
Yeah, me too. Will be the Ezreal locked in
Yeah.
as the AD carry pick.
I was about to say the Ezreal is definitely good as a blind pick. Into a lot of carries. Into the Leona is really good, and the Mel especially. But Sivir is one of those sort of counter picks that we saw a bit at MSI. Like a couple people pulled it out as this sort of pocket because of the wave clear. It's really good at sort of matching the mage's wave clear, right? They just wave clear, they go, they can roam, they can get on you. Sivir just answers it right back, says, okay, cool, I'm just gonna do the exact same thing. And we're gonna see the Varus now locked in. Again, this could be bot, could be top. There's a lot of options here, and I don't think we're really gonna know until we see this last pick. But right now, we've been seeing a lot of Varus top lately, so I wouldn't be shocked. You know, you sell them, you send the Mel bottom lane, you send the Varus into the top lane, you throw something, you know, good into the Ari mid. You know, Mel can do that obviously, but a lot of also good options for setup that can combo with the Leona, with the Wukong, and you have a really solid team comp here. Ember Phantom's gonna have to respond. It's gonna be the Ambessa. So if I had to guess, that's probably going to be an Ambessa top, Mel, mid, Varus, bot lane. A bit more of a standard team comp. I was maybe thinking about getting it a little too spicy, but we'll see with the Yorick locked in. They might decide to do some funny things, swap around, but Ambessa and Ari seems like a bit of a rough matchup, so I think they're just going to call it a day on the normal match. And it looks like Ember Phantoms might just handshake on that Ornn.
Interesting Ornn pickup here. I actually really like the Yorick hover a little bit better than this, because I think now you're kind of giving Ambessa a pretty solid lane. So you need to worry about that, but also looking at like the Melvaris, they're also gonna have a decent time in this game, right? The Reflect on the Ahri shuts down a lot of kill potential early on. Of course, does need to be wary of the Nautilus roam, as you mentioned earlier. Because if you reflect the Nautilus hook, oftentimes you're kind of putting yourself into more danger than anything else. But both teams kind of starting off with a pretty solid draft here. Some front-to-back potential, as well as a plethora of pick opportunities between both comps. We'll see if they can utilize that to their advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think for me, I want to know what who you have winning right now, because right now for me, I think both teams drafted really well. I think Ember Phantoms have this really, really great early pick and some, you know, really good team fight. But Zero, man, there's just so much damage and pick potential on that comp. If you get caught by the Wukong, if you get caught by a Varus ult, a Leona ult, an Ambessa ult, you know, so many ways that you can just get blown up from nothing. And I think it's really going to be important for Phantom's carries to just make sure that they don't get caught out, make sure that they can wait around for a charm or a sleep or a Nautilus hook and use that as their engage, because if they get caught on a side angle, the fight's kind of over before it starts.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna agree with your assessment. I have Lane Zero Blizzard for sure having the better comp here. Like I said, I would have much preferred the York over the Ornn, although the Ornn, of course, does give them some frontline to buy some space, right? Lilia usually pretty weak when she has to kind of be solo frontline. Nautilus is tanky, but he's not that tanky when it matters, unfortunately. I think the Ornn is kind of there to try and cover for the Lilia, gives them some long-range engage options. But as usual, it's almost always going to come down to execution. Although we kind of saw that shift at like MSI, where drafts really started to matter more often than not, which has been very rare in the history of League. Usually it just comes down to execution, you're a better team, but we saw a plethora of games end up being lost simply due to that draft diff. Of course, mistakes still are
Rest
bound
in
to
peace,
happen,
Lion.
but yeah, draft div is a really big thing right now in the meta, so we'll see if that has anything to dictate, but probably not here.
Yeah, I mean, I assume we're probably going to cut it to a break now. I think we've talked all we can about this kind of thing while we wait on the spectator delay. Hopefully, we'll be able to hop right back in shortly, but when we come back, we will see you on the Rift. Don't go anywhere.
Hello and welcome back. We are here with game number one of the BOL Masters playoffs between Lane Zero Blizzard and Ember Phantom5. Of course, I'm Ozzy, joined by Bennett Reigns as game number one on the cards here as Bondi is going to be playing that poke virus. We did see that happen to get teched into a little bit more often at MSI, although I have my very strong opinions about it. I'm sure when it rains might disagree with me, but I think it's not very good. So we'll see if Bondi's able to perform on it and prove me wrong.
Yeah, generally I'd agree with you. I think it's a little bit more okay in these comps where you have so much damage everywhere else in the Mel, the Wukong, and the Ambessa. I think the biggest issues were that like people were playing it with like triple tanks and like massive front lines, and it's like, okay, so we don't draft damage, that's fine. Here it's not as bad. I will say, coming from draft, the biggest thing, or so from BOL draft, I should say, I think the biggest thing that is a relief to me is that all these people have very easy to say names and not full sentences. Two syllables max. We love to see it, everybody. But no, I'm really liking the general setups. I don't think too much was gonna happen this early game unless they went for some insane Nautilus cheese, but I don't think there's a real reason to do that right now. So looks like both teams are just gonna be playing it chill. Both junglers gonna be doing their full clears, and I don't expect to see too much happening, you know, until at least Crab.
Hey, I'll give you a little secret, alright? Never say it's gonna be nothing happening in M600. All it takes is that's like phrase happening, and then it's just fist fights in all three lanes at the same time for no reason. Okay?
Hey, I said until Crab. I said I gave it a solid 30 seconds. All right?
don't do that. Don't do that. M600 is a different beast. It's like LPL, but even worse, where they would just fist fight. Like legitimate fist fight for 100% of the time. There's no like they will fist fight for a negative. Like there's no benefit to fist fighting. They'll just do
Dude, that
so
word
to
is
do
worth
so.
10 gold. All right, you don't get it.
Anyway, but we're cresting at the 3-minute mark now as the Scuttle Crabs will be taken. So nothing happening just yet as you predicted, but you need to be mindful now that the blue is here on the bot side.
The wave's pushing too. Oh, Eclipse looking for it. Gets hit by the bowling ball. Has to be careful now. Voltage looks for a hook onto Bondi instead of waiting for Eclipse. Tries to catch him off guard. Unfortunately, not going to land. Now with the pushing lanes, going to be able to get some decent poke damage off. As Blue tries to wander into the enemy jungle. Just take it back here. It looks like both teams wanting to reset. Wukong a little bit early on that reset, though, which is going to be nice. You're going to be able to go clear into that bot side and potentially help out this bot lane with the pushing wave. You can see the Wukong already running down there. Potentially fight off this wave as it... Did you? Salted. Have to see if it plays out into anything. Right now, just going for a little bit of fighting. Trying to get some damage down. Voltage has to be careful. Setter, the lethal tempo, doing quite a bit. Riddy was there just to cover, you could see. You know, delays his clear by a little bit, but the bright side is that if Voltage tries to do anything, he would have gotten it. Now an engage there. Setter forced with the cleanse and the flash, and the heal from Voltage as well. It's going to put Phantoms in a very, very dangerous predicament with Riddy down here, but Riddy taking so much time to just back and forth is kind of delayed his camps by a lot. Blue almost done with that second top side clear going into the bot side, and Riddy's going to be a bit further behind here.
Yeah, a lot of time wasted. Also, thankfully, there was a ward placed down by Blue initially. As Riddy now looking that they should know this is coming because of that ward, so they are going to respect it. And now Blue looking mid lane.
Yeah, gonna see if he can get onto Griffin. Plan B, popping low, but Griffin doesn't have any mana. Gonna be forced to use the flash. Try and do it, but Blue picks up for his blood, dashing in with the W. Now Plan B goes back to the wave to get the dash. Runs in on it. Riddy has to be careful. Eclipse flashes forward to try and land it, but he won't be able to grab it. Plan B, without any mana, not gonna be able to follow up onto Riddy. And it's Phantoms winning out on the first big skirmish of the game.
Yeah, that's essentially just a great find by Blue to punish out Riddy for spending so much time walking back and forth around that bot side. Of course, the vision placed by Blue previously also helping, you know, deducing whether or not the
Was there a
Wukong
fight
should have been
topside?
there. But
Did they 1v1 topside and we didn't even notice? Both of the ults are down. They're both low.
you know, like I said, fist fighting will be daily. All right, fist fighting will be daily. Although Plan B here in the mid lane is gonna be okay, respecting the vision line at least for right now, and we'll see Eclipse and Griffin, so it should be a-okay. Although no Spear Rush, does have the flash though.
Oh, they're just
should
sending
be
it on the
okay.
drag.
I like this.
I love this. Yeah, spotted out, but I don't think they can do anything about it. Riddy isn't there. They don't have enough cryo. I mean, Zetter can always just move on this, and I think that's just going to be a free first dragon for Phantoms for absolutely nothing. Blue's going to be able to reset by the time that dragon goes down, come right back to his top side, and Riddy, I mean, the ripples of delaying those Krugs in the clear for so long is really getting felt now, right? Obviously, Blue just going to run right back to his top side. Riddy can't even invade or cross jungle, doesn't have the priority, doesn't have the reset. And already, I think you can see Phantom's going to stretch the lead in the jungle by quite a bit, because even if Riddy has the extra little bit of CS from the crab, that dragon and Blue going to be able to get a huge reset timer for the little grubs is going to be a massive benefit.
I mean, also the Lilia is just cycling faster, so she's actually up CS regardless. Like no matter what, she's actually going to be up CS here when she takes her camps. But the issue for Lane Zero Blizzard right now, outside of, you know, giving the Drake for free, of course, that low Hex Tech Drake definitely going to feel nice as
Whoa, Eclipse right under the tower! Eclipse! Okay, somehow both supports trade even HP there, which is kind of insane to me. But hey, I mean, we're looking in Masters, the ult comes out, under tower again, the exhaust comes out, it's not going to be enough, Eclipse goes down, Setter wants more, Voltage gonna possibly look for that flash hook onto Bondi, who now has no summoners, no ultimate, and no way to save himself, but manages to get out of range just in time, and a little bit of over-aggression there from Lane Zero Blizzard, thought they could get a lot more than they could under the enemy tower, not realizing that it is, in fact, 8 minutes into the game, and they do not have 3 full items to tank a tower yet.
Ooh,
Bondi.
Oh my god.
Voltage under tower! No way! No way, he gets out! He gets out!
Oh man. That's gonna hurt a lot here for Lane Zero Blizzard in game number 1.
Oh, dying to the Nautilus E. That is an unfortunate chain of events right there.
That is, yeah, unfortunate is a great way to sum it up. They are at least
they
getting
get the grubs.
You know, that's cool. They get grubs, but man, what a
not a great consolation prize. I'm not gonna lie at this point.
what a really tragic like turn of events. Eclipse utilizing the Zenith Blade that gets unfortunately pushed into tower because of the Arcane Shift, plus the hook coming out from Voltage. But curiously enough, Lane Zero Blizzard's bot lane continues to try and fight despite not having the DPS in the lane. Yeah. Like, they're a burst lane comparatively to Lethal Tempo Ezreal, right, who has the DPS. And, of course, Chains of Corruption had already dissipated, so it's not like you had any Blight stacks to try and burst someone down there. Just a bit of an over-aggressive play that was completely unnecessary. As Bondi definitely now on a severe back foot. Not only from losing the kill, but dying as well to the Nautilus losing
the Nautilus team was really the nail, and that just felt so bad here. Now we got a fight in the top side as Rainy tries to trade onto Swarm, but Blue is waiting in the bush, manages to get the Unstoppable out and try and find it back, but there's just so much damage now. Might be forced to flash, and there it is. Blue trying to get it, has to be careful of the tower. Rainy manages to live on just a sliver of HP, but is going to be forced back, going to be forced to use the TP. The True Shot Barrage comes out, but it's going for the back under tower. It's not going to hit that bush. Rainy makes it out. Blue not having to use the Summoner, but a really nice play there, because Swarm's going to be able to pick up this wave, get plate, get a full reset, and that's really nice.
Yeah, Swarm and Blue connecting there to punish out the Ambessa, although Rainy does play it incredibly well, utilizing the public execution backwards for the Unstoppable to cancel out the Wilting Lullaby Sleep. So well played there honestly surprised Rainy even had a way out. So great way of at least finding a way out, but yeah, losing some of that farm definitely not the most ideal thing, as Blue actually, kind of starting to take over the map a little bit here on the Lilia. As, of course, that top gank
We
did
say that
not
as Riddy just
yeah.
walks into the enemy jungle like it's absolutely nothing and starts taking the camps.
Bondi is doing the grog.
Bondi has lost more to that grub than I think he's lost in most of the trades. That is hilarious. I will say though,
farm.
Rainy and Swarm, when you consider that matchup, the loss of XP, Swarm coming out of this lane only about one wave behind is kind of hard winning for the Ornn, right? Like, already with this Unending Despair, this Ambessa not looking like a Cleaver Rush, so, or maybe it might be? No, because then it would Kindle Gem. Yeah, so no Cleaver Rush, so really not going to be doing a ton to Swarm, especially once that next reset comes in. The slow, too, comes out. Get some good trading off, and it's some pretty difficult here as we do see Shadows, or Phantoms, going for another Dragon. Riddy's going to be a little late, but it looks like they want to at least try and fight it. Eclipse already below half HP, has to be careful as Setter fires off the ult. And even with the resistance and the heal, Eclipse is forced to leave this alone. Blue picks up another Drake, and already just 2 Drakes for absolutely nothing both times. Phantoms already, what, is that a 2k gold lead? Double Dragons up, and we're not even 13 minutes into the game.
Will not get hit by that hook, so would have been pretty tragic, but giving 2 early Dragons could be worse, although things are starting to go from bad to worse, because the thing is with the Ocean Soul, it works really great with like Lily passive healing. You're also playing this double poke style comp, right, with the Varus playing poke. So that's going to be really annoying to deal with if you do give up Ocean Soul. But at the very least, I guess if you are lane 0 Blizzard and we do somehow get to a future where you get no dragons, the Ocean Soul definitely not like just insta-win, at least. So that's something. But in the top lane, the return gank from Blue will net that one down, and no outplaying that one, I fear. Rainy dead on her tower.
Yeah. Ready looking for the... Oh, who got it? I think Blue got the smite off, trying to ult Blue, trying to pick up the kill before Swarm can get in here. And Blue a little bit late on the flash, has to be careful. Griffin tries to fire over the wall. It's not going to be enough. Plan B here to try and get something back as Riddy goes down, but Eclipse has come back. Unfortunately, the Spirit Rush charges get refreshed. And going to be able to make it out alive. 1 for 1 there in topside. Getting the shutdown was really nice, though, and I think the trade generally favors lane 0 Blizzard more, but not by a whole ton, obviously, right? Like, it's still about, almost a 3,000 gold difference at this point, a little bit less, 2.5-ish. But Phantoms just feel like they're in complete control of this game right now, and it feels like every time lane Blizzard 0 tries to do something, they're right there for a response.
Yeah, again, like, the biggest thing as well is, like, really wasting that much time, right? That has kind of been the thing, is Setter, nice arcane shift to get away there. Would have been incredibly shocking if Setter would have died there or had to blow any sums, because, again, arcane shift such a good tool and keeping you safe, but I think my thing is, we look back to like every margin of League mattering, and this is a margin where things kind of going downhill is really wasting so much time on the Krugs, right? Sets them down so much tempo that allows Blue to, go punish Griffin, right? If Griffin is covered by Riddy there, if Riddy was there maybe 5 seconds earlier, as Eclipse is being looked on right now, does have W.
Has to be careful. Voltage goes back in with the hook, tries to find something. Blue doesn't manage to hit anyone with a bowling ball, so it doesn't look like they're going to be going for anything too crazy here, but they are going to hard shove in this wave and maybe threaten to dive, even if they're not going to actually go for it. Going to instead wrap around the Krugs. Plan B spotted out on the dive. Now they're going for it. Voltage might have went a little bit early there as Riddy and Plan B aren't there. Riddy over the wall, trying to find a follow-up now. Griffin going for the root. just a little bit short. Eclipse has to be careful. It's getting so low. Goes for the flash, goes for the engage. And the Lilting Lullaby comes out. Bondi, first one to pick up a kill in that fight. Blue has to be very careful getting spun around. And it's not looking good for Phantoms. Lane Zero Blizzard might have found their fight, but Riddy gets charmed up and has to be careful as Plan B goes over the wall, and it's the Ahri now carrying the fight. Setter looking for some more poke, looking to find something, flashes in, gets the charm, gets the reset, wants to find more onto Bondi, but realizes that one arrow could do him in. A 2-for-3 fight, favoring Phantoms, pushing them all the way up to a 3,000 gold lead.
Yeah, a bit of an overplay there from Lane Zero Blizzard. Starts off the play doing great, right? They punish the rotations and the, attempted dive from Ember, but unfortunately, Lane Zero overplay their hand. And speaking of overplaying their hand, Eclipse does stop the pack from Plan B, but although definitely had no backup. So if they did want to turn that, that was definitely very turnable for Ember, although they were not necessarily in the know about that. Of course, they can't see. They don't have backpacks like we do, so hard to discern. But Eclipse does get that backstop and is not punished. But again, speaking of punishing, Riddy is here to help out Bondi to not get punished on this bot wave.
Yeah, and with the Dragon coming up, obviously both teams can be rotating around for it. Looks like we're going to possibly have our first 5v5 of the game as Swarm starts the TP in. Looks like bot control is over to Lane Zero Blizzard, which is going to make Setter getting over to his team a bit difficult unless they land a pinch. And Setter tries to walk into the tri-bush. Gonna get dropped very low. Riddy misses the auto onto the tower twice! As Setter goes in, Plan B picks up another kill. Eclipse just gonna fall right after as Bondi gets hit with another hook. Ritter, what the hell did I just watch, man?
That was, that just, that might have just sold the entire game, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's a 4,000 gold, no, 5,000 almost gold difference now. That was, they had such a great pick onto Setter. And I just, dying with the Cyclone ultimate up, no public execution used from Rainy. I really gotta question what happened there. Was it a communication error or an execution error? Because that should not have happened.
You see something new every day for 600. That was one of them. Riddy unfortunately autoing that tower twice means dies to the tower, doesn't kill Setter. And as you mentioned, Cyclone was not utilized in the last fight. I think Rainy recognizing that the play was just dead in the water, so just roam back up top. Makes sense. Bondi though, on this Varus. This is scary.
And again, oh no, Bondi. Bondi not like this. Manages to flash out, but Eclipse is going to be the sacrificial lamb in this case as they go right back to the Herald. And it's just disaster after disaster for Lane Zero Blizzard right now. As Phantoms, they're just rocking every part of the map. You can see Griffin desperately trying to get this bot tower just for a little bit of that bounty gold, but man, it's looking really rough right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, things are looking pretty bad, and it's about to get worse. Okay,
like this, tower goes down. Rainy left alone in the top side. Swarm, Blue, Voltage. Who's gonna pick up the kill? It's Voltage. Getting a little kill onto the Nautilus. A shutdown there in the 1v1 though. Oh no, sorry, 2v2. Griffin and Riddy managed to pick off Plan B in the side lane. A nice little benefit, as it really seems they're doing their best to take back what they can, but still a 4,000 gold lead. You know, shortened up a little bit by 1,000. Still down 4,000 gold. The Mel ultimate playing ping pong over there. Hits the blue buff. That would have been really funny if it stole it. Unfortunately, not going to do the job as Riddy's in the enemy jungle invading. Things are just, you know, I say a neutral state, but it's really never neutral right now, as Phantoms can pop up from anywhere and feel like they can force a fight.
Yeah, also, the mid lane tower will not be long for this world. All it's really going to take is a little overload, which I think they don't even need it. The minions get it done. That's all she wrote there for that mid tower. Kind of a crucial one to lose 2 minutes before this this potential soul for Ember. I think the biggest issue I have overall uh, for lane 0 is disregarding Riddy's like back and forth, kind of getting baited by the bot lane play and kind of setting up his tempo for failure for the rest of the game. It's realistically just been in these team fights, they just haven't been able to find any impact with their kick tools. Well, they're gonna get one right there, so that's pretty nice, but
Yeah,
not in a
going on to
team fight.
Griffin too, which I feel like at this point is exactly where you want it, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Well, I mean, Bonnie also not the worst, but in that case, for sure. But honestly, you know what? Give supports more gold. All right, Eclipse should have yoinked that. Anyways, regardless, yeah, I think going to Griffin is good, but it's looking so hard for any individual member to kind of carry. So getting that gold on one person doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like the problem is solved anytime soon with those kind of plays, but it is something at the very least. They are trying to find a way to get gold into their pockets, try to find some punish window. They get the punish window, very low committal punish window as well. They'll have both of their ults back up for this dragon. So this should not necessarily be anything too bad for them, as Eclipse should be able to get some vision down at least to get some control into this river. Might be looking like a go through bot lane angle, much similar to the last dragon. Pretty.
Let's see, ready. Okay, manages to find voltage. Griffin has to be careful, caught on the side, getting a lot of damage down. Almost blowing up blue immediately. Plan B goes in. Eclipse trying to tank for Griffin right now as Riddy on the backside tries to make sure that they can't go forward anymore. Bondi goes in, flash forward from Riddy, and it's fine. Rainy now on the side angle, use that flex TP. He's able to find the flank, then going in onto Voltage. Voltage popping very low. Rainy going with the engaged Swarm. Tries to find the ultimate. A huge knockup, but isn't going to be able to recast it. Swarm able to pick up one. Setter has to be careful as Riddy goes in. Manages to pick up another. And Cyclone just tearing through this team. Swarm manages to pick up one. Now flashed over the wall to try and get there. It's both mid and top laners, the only ones left alive. But with Swarm so low, it's gonna force the Phantoms back, unfortunately. Lane 0 Blizzard don't seem to want to be able to take this drag without their jungler. And it's gonna be blue back on the map first. A really nice fight from Lane 0 Blizzard there as Voltage just taking a little bit too long and lagging behind his team.
Yeah, I mean, also as well, it's initial look onto this Mal by Blue, but it's actually Blue who ends up getting caught out because of it. A lot of poke damage there coming through from Griffin. It kind of keeps this fight even, but we are going to get the run back onto this Drake. In fact, they might be a little bit too slow here.
Yeah, we'll see. No, two tanks in blue don't seem to have the damage just yet, but all five now already back. Riddy is going to take a while. Damage onto Swarm. Voltage misses the hook. That's going to be a big cooldown that's going to let Lane 0 Blizzard move in and try and take some type of control here. But that control ward in the bush is just keeping them in the dark for so long.
Look at the ult economy here, though, for Ember. They have everything up. Cyclone about to come up now.
Has to be really careful. You can see the positioning around the fight. The ult comes out. Has to be careful. Now finally Swarm popping Call of the Forge God, being able to knock up one. Huge damage down from Griffin, though. The Drowsy goes off to sleep, cancelled by the public execution that goes onto the back line. Riddy goes down as well, but they're able to pick up more kills as Eclipse going into the health regen goes down to plan B. And once again, we get mirrored lanes still alive. The ADC and the mid laner on both teams. And once again, another fight ending in a 3v3. But if you're Lane 0 Blizzard, seeing how far behind you were, you'll keep taking these trades for a while.
It's actually so funny we're about to get a third run back for this dragon. Oh my god.
Run it back!
Let it ride! The salty run back. Number 2 even coming through here.
Do we let it ride?
We'll see. The biggest issue I think for Lane 0 is they need to keep Riddy alive, and now it's going to be significantly harder to do with very little ults now. That's nice snare there. Should be a-okay though. Just some poke damage, but we are getting the third run back.
Yeah,
of this
I
play.
Oh boy, this is
Oh my god.
Come on, stay with me,
Oh,
Aussie. Let it ride. Ooh, big damage though from Setter before the fight. It's gonna be a nice bit of poke there.
a good true shot barrage. That was a very chunky one there. You don't see those all that often, especially this early on into the game. You don't see that as often, but nice usage of the true shot barrage. Although HP bars still favoring Ember, is kind of looking for any kind of poke here from the side of lane 0. Oh, they find some.
Ooh, lots down onto blue, forced into the Zanyas as the ultimate from the Mel comes out. Mel down though is gonna be big, however, so is the Zanyas. Ooh, Swarm going in, so is Voltage, finally popping the Call of the Forge God, hopefully gonna be able to live it this time. Turning, not gonna let them reflect that back as they immediately pick up Riddy. Eclipse should fall shortly thereafter, and Rainy goes in all alone, no follow-up left there. Eclipse manages to barely make it out with his life. Unfortunately, that does mean that it's going to be the sole dragon for Phantoms. And honestly, great play by Swarm there. You could see Swarm had an amazing lineup to hit so many people with Call of the Forge God, but it would have gotten reflected by the Mel, so instead turns it back onto Riddy, who had tried to dive the backline. They all collapse, able to pick up the jungler there, pick up the objective, maybe even pick up the Baron. Just excellent communication from Phantoms for that fight.
Yeah, I mean, also, there was actually a ward that ended up timing out that really tried to, like, go through to flank on the back end, but just barely was seen by that as, yeah, caught off from his team. And it is Soul and Baron now over towards Ember, which definitely not the best spot for lane 0, and the biggest struggle for their comp is getting through front line. This Poke Varus is really struggling to get value in these fights, especially with how long these fights have been. That's when it really starts to struggle, especially because of the lack of damage it has currently in the meta. Because they have nerfed it oh so hard multiple times in a row. This last round of changes to him, definitely the most notable for Poke Varus, but pretty able to utilize the Warrior Trickster to get away and to safety. But regardless, I think lane 0 Blizzard, I mean, I don't really see a winning angle here. They're going to need a couple miracles to come back in this game. Like I said, the biggest issue is this Varus, right, who should be the really going to be available for you.
No. And it's one of those things where you know, without a really solid way to cut through this front line, it's just getting more and more difficult as this Ornn gets stronger and stronger. Noting again, went for the Knight's Vow second item as well, just to make sure to keep those carries alive, knowing that there really isn't as much damage onto the front. A lot of it is sort of this mixed AoE, able to get in on the back, but as far as focused damage on a tank goes, the Ornn's not going to be taking much.
Yeah, should not. I mean, even with the Knight's Vow, that's a really funny purchase, to be honest. I did get buffed, so curious to see how that's performing on him overall through this game. I guess we'll check in before the game.
I mean, Setter's 7-1, so clearly it's doing something.
Alright, good body blocks from Eclipse. Does sacrifice the HP bar for Griffin, but so be it. As Reflect does not find a bowling ball on the enemy team there. I mean, they are going to have to try and wave clear here. I think this is going to be the tier 2 given up eventually. Oh, True Shot Barrage again is brutal.
Popping the Edge Knight too is just so rough.
Yeah. That's still tier 2 there, picked up for Ember now, and yeah, I think this is Ember's game to lose. The Phantom5 are Phantom 5k up. So Setter, of course, 7-1-7 on the Ezreal, and there have been words on the street happening about Setter being better than Bondi. I myself believe that. Bondi, of course, struggling in this one. And I mean, look at this Ezreal stat, 7-1-7. So Setter definitely getting the better of Bondi for right now. Hopefully that will turn around for the series, but we will see. as for me, the highlight, I guess, for lane 0 is Griffin on the Mel. Unfortunate kind of dying to that early gank really prevented this Mel from becoming a super critical like member of the squad early on. Had to kind of climb her way back, but has managed to do so. But I don't think it's going to matter in the face of Ember and basically a minute and 50 seconds. That's all we're waiting for, unless an Elder Flip happens and they lose it, which would be that would be something. That would be pretty MSI, I think, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Right now, the way I'm feeling, yeah, unless we see a massive change of gameplay here, I don't have a lot of faith in Frost to turn this game around. But, you know, those dragon fights, they were showing some courage there. Unfortunately, now the Call of the Forge God coming out, going to be able to land double knockups. Griffin just popping solo, barely surviving, trying to stay alive, but the burn is just too much from the Lilia. And this might be the victory march. We'll have to see. Lane 0, they don't have a ton of minions, but they do have 5 strong, and they're marching down the lane right now. Elder Dragon up in a minute. Looks like they don't want to risk it. They know they can win any fight. Picks up another 2 kills. And this gold lead is completely ballooned, right? Over 6,000 gold, a full soul, fighting for the Elder. And it feels like Blizzard are just fighting for scraps right now. Can't even walk into their own jungle or walk up to their own tier 2 tower for 3 casters without dying.
Yeah. I think for lane 0, I mean, here is basically where the game is over. You might as well full send it, just try to full send a 5-man stack together. Maybe try to go through mid lane here, although that's going to be quite difficult. The setter has that control of the mid lane at the moment. Griffin did just spawn in, is TPing very short, actually. TP's to the mid tier 3, and now the meatball is on for Ember.
Yeah, and they're just chugging it down mid. Bondi taking almost half HP, Riddy trying to find some damage there. Getting something good onto Swarm. But Bondi at half HP now has to be very careful. Any type of stray CC could lead to a death. The charm onto Eclipse has to be careful as well. I mean, you have to be careful of everything, it feels like right now, when you're up against Phantoms.
Yeah. Has been some good side steps coming out from lane 0 as Solar Flare will go wide.
Oh, Griffin throwing himself back in with the W. Eclipse popping very low. Call of the Forge God comes out. Plan B manages to pick up Griffin, and the rest of lane 0 have to be careful. They're just getting so low. 1 goes down, 2 goes down. It's a quadra so far. Plan B running down Bondi Blue with so much movement speed, and there's only so much the Varus can do before eventually getting run down by the horse. The burn ticking down. Goes golden, an ace for Phantoms, and game 1 over and done with in the bag. Took a little bit on one of those dragon fights, but eventually they managed to get it done, picking up the clean soul sweep, almost 10,000 gold lead, under 35 minutes. I mean, Phantoms just looked so dominant this game.
Yeah, I mean, they had control all the way through, predicated off of the back of some early blue ganks on the Lilia to get things kicked off. And some overplaying mistakes from lane 0. Lane 0 on the back foot early on in the series, but much like League of Legends at the moment, early game doesn't matter, early series doesn't really matter as long as you keep your mental intact and focus on the mistakes you made so you can prevent those in the future. So hopefully here for lane 0, they're able to bounce back, but in my opinion, I really think this should have been an on-hit Varus. I think you did need something to respond into like the frontline potential. There's a lot of health that's going to be built on the side of Ember this game, and even though the damage number says 32k there, when it came down to crunch time, that damage was certainly lacking.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Bondi doing almost as much as the Mal, and it still felt kind of like nothing, you know what I mean? Like, this is the issue with the lethality, right? You fall behind, you're not able to get damage from the rest of your team, you're not able to back it up, and it's just so difficult. even through the dives, they were trying to get onto that back line, but unfortunately, the Ari, the Ezreal, just all of the carries a little bit too mobile. Could see the mid and the bot, one death each a piece, 10-1 and 10, 9-1 and 10. Those score lines are immaculate. 2-2 and 19. The Orange is pulling up with the massive support score line. It really felt like Phantoms just had full control of this game from minute one. And, if they're able to keep it going this series, it might be a short night. But I believe in Lane Zero Blizzard to be able to handle it back. I think that they showed the fight in them. They had those dragon fights. They showed that they were willing to fight for it. So I don't think they're going to go down with at least a little bit of interest.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I also know Lane Zero pretty well. Again, like I said, I cast a lot of Imp 600, so a lot of these players are not strangers to me. But we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, as we'll see if Lane Zero can bounce back, or if Ember are going to take game number 2 dominantly. We'll get right back at you with this next draft. Hello, we are back with game number two's draft. I'm Ozzy, joined by When It Rains, of course. Nothing has changed on our end. Also, I forgot to shout out our wonderful producer and observer in the background. Call me Soul, so thank you for your work in the background. Sorry for missing that initially. It just faced me. Usually I'm not the guy who does the introductions, but here I am today doing that. But we are so back into the draft. Of course, it is Fearless. Everything played last game, and any game for the rest of the night cannot be played again for either team. So we are now finally getting into the ban phase. And honestly, I want to see Lane Zero Blizzard try to spice things up in the early game, get things going. Because what they did last game obviously did not work, so I want to see them kind of hit the ground running in this game number 2.
Yeah, definitely. After that last one, it was a little rough. Especially like having a comp that should be really good in the early game, and then you just kind of watch it and you just fumble after fumble after fumble is kind of depressing. So hopefully a bit of a different game. Band's quite similar though. So we'll have to see if there's any adaptations here. Any changes, or if we're just gonna go for the same old, same old.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, the band's staying the same. A lot of AD carry bands here from Lane Zero Blizzard. So, of course, the Cassidon coming out. Funnily enough, I mentioned that in the last draft about League Classic and the rise of Cassidon. Although, Cassidon not as strong as he was then, for sure. But we'll see if Lane Zero Blizzard are going to take us away with their first pick now. As, like I said, I would really like to see them hit the ground running. I'd like to see them get active in the early game. I think they had a lot of tools last game to put themselves in a position, but they didn't really connect with that. And the Ziggs does go unbanned here. It will get picked up, which is flexible. Probably going to Bondi, though, if I had to guess.
Yeah, and the fact that they banned the Seraphine instead is kind of funny, because they immediately pick up the Ziggs after it's not banned. So, not shocked at all to see it unbanned and locked in immediately. The Mel already gone. Obviously, this is a flex. However, again, like I said, the last time, without the Sivir banned, this is just a really, really solid pick into the Ziggs. You can clear waves all you want. So can I. So I would expect a decent handshake in the bot lane with how safe these ADCs are, and to see some more roam-oriented supports this draft.
Yeah, I like the Sivir answer. Can be a little bit spooky into the Ziggs, though, because a lot of easy ways for Ziggs to pop your spell shield, and then you're kind of without that for a while, and you can get poked down. And of course, the sheer amount of damage Ziggs can do is pretty good. Taking away the Alistar to prevent the Sivir Alistar matchup makes sense. But what does Lane Zero Blizzard have cooking up here in the support role as a response to the Alistar? Also got to keep in mind, Sylas is still on the table, though Blinding Sylas would be a choice, but certainly doable, I suppose.
Yeah, and the Alistar, like I said, really good on the roams. The Camille as well. Seen a lot more in the support role now. If I had to guess, that's where it's going. The true damage, obviously able to cut through that alley ult is pretty good, but I think it's more because of how strong it is at roaming, at diving, at playing for the invades. I like what we're seeing so far. They say, okay, we're gonna handshake these sort of neutral bot laners that like to clear waves, and we're just going to lock in supports that love to roam. So I expect to see a lot of fighting. 2v2s, 3v3s, early skirmishes, and the Kindred as well. Really good at the early fight, obviously, especially when you have a Camille to back it up, potentially an aggressive mid laner. The Ahri and the Mel both out of there, but we do still have some of those more roam-oriented ones. The Galio's still up. A really notable decision if Phantoms decide to lock in some more magic damage.
Yeah, we'll see. Definitely lacking it at the moment, although Nocturne going to be picked up will make at least the Kindred matchup not necessarily the easiest for the Kindred to kind of just invade in your face. Nocturne also has a pretty decent clear speed as well for himself. Usually we see Kindreds come into things like the Trundle, which is very hard to punish the Kindred unless you hit a perfectly timed pillar on Kindred Q, but that is incredibly difficult, even more so when you're playing on ping like these players will be. And he's not in the game, so it simply just doesn't matter, as Nocturne will be the selection here, and the Silas being banned away, as well as the Galio. Ember not messing around here, wanting to prevent both some pretty good ultimates from getting stealed, and also preventing the Galio, Camille, and Kindred combo.
Yeah,
A lot of
lots of
circles.
circles.
Yeah, a lot of circles going
I
on
like
here
how we
for
went,
Lane
yeah.
Zero.
I like the Nocturne too, with the spell shield to block that Chameleon is really good. Able to block the Kindred mark as well. Not like the big mark, but the E mark is pretty good. Really good in those early fights, obviously with the lethal tempo, the attack speed, some good clear. So it does seems like both teams are really kind of committing, knowing that the early fights are going to happen whether they like it or not. So trying to lean into it is a pretty smart play. I wouldn't be surprised to see Phantoms pick up a mid or a flexible pick here. Rise can go either way, but I do feel like it's probably more likely mid. But you know, able to clear waves early, able to fight. Obviously, the EW root combo is really, really strong. Pretty decent health and scales very well. So seems to be playing into Phantom's strengths quite well right now. And I think Lane Zero also have really good. I think what it's going to come down to again is mostly execution, unless Lane Zero makes some pretty egregious mistakes here.
Yeah,
Ooh, Anivia answer.
yeah, the Anivia answer is great. We've actually seen the Anivia kind of phase out as a response to Rise in favor of the Cassiopeia, but but if you can't play it or you're not so comfortable on it, Anivia works just as well. Also technically flexible. Can play that support as well. That was a response into Sivir on the road to MSI by quite a few pro teams as well. But that does not look like it's going to be the case with that Scion lock-in. I was also going to say it could go top. But that
Honestly,
seems to be
still
unlikely.
could go top, question mark, if the Rise goes top. But I feel like the Rise is probably just going to go mid. I don't know. They could do some interesting, crazy stuff. We've seen plenty of Scion mid. It's not like it's the craziest thing, but I do think it's probably going to be the Anivia mid, the Scion top lane. Unless... We'll see.
You got a fun enjoyer in here. Okay, I see you. I see you.
I love the set into the Scion, but what I like more if Lane Zero decide to do it is the Anivia top Scion mid. And being able to play that Scion into the Rise, which Rise actually isn't that threatening into Scion early. The damage and the trading is good, but the all-in potential isn't quite there. And Anivia into set is just such a good matchup for the Anivia, so we'll have to see what comes out, but honestly, both teams very aggressive early game in the support and jungle. Maybe a little bit more scaling from their mages, but still, I really like the team fight and the skirmish potential, and I think, if nothing else, we're in for an interesting fighting game.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of tools this game to breach backlines here. Maybe a bit unfairly if you're having to face against it, but for Lane Zero, biggest thing they have to worry about is this set. Of course, the one thing mages hate is when champions get on top of them and then can stay on top of them. Set being able to ult the Scion not only means half of your health is gone off of the ult, you're also slowed during that, and then of course Set still has his damage he can do outside of his ultimate. But they do have Lamb's Respite, so that could be like a huge turning factor here for Lane Zero to try and pivot into, especially with how we saw the like triple run back over at the Drake. A Lamb's Respite there would have helped at least one of those fights. Maybe going the way towards Lane Zero Blizzard, but we'll see if that pays off. We're going to hit a break before we get into the next game. Please do not go anywhere, as we'll be right back. Hello, we're back. Game number 2 in the wings here. Lane 0 Blizzard, Ember, Phantom5. I'm Ozzy, of course, joined by When It Rains. We have Bondi onto the Ziggs, making his way towards the bush there. They will see the ward, but by they I mean Lane 0 will see that the ward comes down. They do also know that the chickens did get warded. Looking like a ready start on red buff here as double red buff.
They're going early.
Invades.
They're going early.
No,
Oh, he's stepping so far up. It's beautiful. Forcing the flash immediately from plan B. And the Rise without the flash for the next 5 minutes-ish, depending on the runes that he took. But still, that's going to be a really big opening if Griffin and Riddy want to collapse on that. That's a really nice play there, I think, especially since you have the early plays here. And Riddy being able to pass bot side, so much damage down onto Voltage. Eclipse is just running them down right now.
I think we forgot we are level 1 Alistar, one of the weaker level 1 supports in the game. Tries to headbutt Eclipse out, but it does not work, and Voltage definitely feels the strength of the Camille support at the moment, especially because of those Hail of Blade changes, which happened a while ago. Definitely helping her out, but we'll be missing some XP here due to the shenanigans in mid. Finally does level up to level 2. I would really like to see Lane 0 Blizzard gank that, like, level 3, maybe. Like, we are already level 3, but no flash. All you really need is a Nivea wall. That should be able to secure it enough, but...
Yeah, jump onto Setter. Misses the spell shield, too, so... Lots of damage coming down, especially from Bondi. Setter has to be careful. The Camille still has the Ignite, so a massive threat here if the enemy bot lane is not careful. Meanwhile, both teams, both junglers, just pathing away from each other. See how it plays out. Setter has to be careful. Eclipse getting so much damage. A beautiful pull flash from Eclipse. The Ignite comes down. Setter, the first to fall, and it's Bondi with just blood. Eclipse, what was that? That was a beautiful move from Eclipse, making up for those questionable early Zenith Blades under the tower last game. That was something special right there.
Yeah, utilizing the hook shot into the flash to just narrowly avoid Voltage there to connect on a Setter. Gets this Lane 0 Blizzard bot lane ahead very early. Voltage, unfortunately, going to be able to save this wave, and really good hook shot buffer there from Eclipse.
Okay, this is a different person. Someone check him PC, because this is not the Eclipse that I was watching last game.
Yeah. Doing some silly things. And
oh, no. Oh, not like this. Not like this. Ooh. Miscounted the timing a little bit. Thought Voltage was already backed. Magic damage shield, though. They might be able to get Voltage.
Level up.
Eclipse doesn't manage to get out the level up. Not in time. Bondi still has the flash. Has to be careful. Setter. Ooh, even with double flashes, Setter not able to kill Bondi. 1 for 1 there. Still pretty good because both kills were on to that Ziggs. Now plan B has to be careful in the mid lane.
He's out.
Using the ghost to get away because he doesn't have a flash. And Riddy's just going to keep walking it down. Make sure that he can get something out of this. Although sees the Nocturne. Gonna try and pull this camp. Sees Voltage now. Knows that it's a little bit too scary. Tries to back away. Blue goes through. Nice stun from Griffin. Right as it expires. Eclipse is there in the mid lane to pick up the kill. This man cannot be stopped. His plan B has no way out. Rainy on the roam picks up plan B for his jungler. And Eclipse already hit the rotation. Beautiful hook shot there to keep it alive. Riddy now able to secure this mark and the camp. And this is an entirely different Lane 0 Blizzard. What happened to them last game, they're doing to Phantoms this game.
Yeah, I mean, this is dominant early game, and Griffin still has eggs, so even if Voltage does manage to somehow kill Griffin, which will result in only the egg, but I believe... Well, I actually didn't see if Kindred got the scuttle mark. I'm not sure on that one. But regardless, bare minimum 2 stacks at 5 minutes. Definitely not feeling too bad about that, as They get the punish even on plan B as well there, which was the initial marked target for Kindred, and of course getting the chickens there with that mark will have netted Riddy 2 at the very least. And now this is a turnaround performance from Lane 0 in this early game as Blue is hovering, although just out of vision. Riddy doesn't know. And they're going to Realm Warp play here for sure.
Yeah, they're looking for it. Unfortunately,
oh, look at the collapse.
Griffin's still on the back side. They managed to get onto Bondi, and Bondi's dead to rights here. I mean, the guy is really has no way out, but Voltage is popping very low, and Riddy's going to pick up the kill. So far, it's a 1-for-1. Eclipse wandering into that dry bush, though, just threatening them to keep going. As he hugs that bush, are going to force the back there, and probably get the dragon as well. Knowing that all of those resets happen, Riddy going to pick up another one, thanks to the mark spawning on that scuttle as well. And I'm curious to see how many stacks the Kindred has right now, because we're certainly getting up there. Riddy has been a part of so many of these early game fights.
Yeah, this is a pretty fed Kindred, all things considered. Now, I'm going to be curious to see if can kind of keep this pace up. As I mentioned in draft, I want to see Lane 0 kind of give us a good early game here, and they have provided, but we still have a little bit on the early game, so things could turn out to be disastrous eventually here. Can't just say that they're gonna have a great early game because it's not over yet. Although Phantom's definitely with a more scaling draft, so they are going to need to buy some time for themselves in this game, because right now they're not in a great position to really do anything. They did find the pick onto Bondi, which was great, but it seemed like Lane 0 were actually aware of that happening, so the fact Bondi went down at all, unfortunate, but acceptable losses, I suppose. It's like the Lord Farquaad saying from Shrek 1, some of you may die, but that's a price I'm willing to pay.
No, it's some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Oh, man.
It really does feel like that a little bit right now, though, definitely. But honestly, Lane 0 just doing a really good job of managing the map right now. Didn't take that dragon early, which was a bit strange, but I guess, you know, they didn't see all the facts, so they thought they might have still been around. But still, I mean, the game going really well. Rainy, obviously, having a bit of a hard time up in the top side, but kind of knows that their job is not to hard win this lane, but just survive, get kind of tanky, scale up a little bit, and then help out the team. And, you know, the team's doing really well, so pretty comfortable in that regard.
Yeah, really shocked as well to see Lane 0 not try to force this invade on the blue, or the mark is engaged on the Bondi.
Yeah, and Voltage goes in maybe a little bit aggressive here. Eclipse, ooh, going a little bit wide. Now the ult comes in onto Bondi, putting him right behind enemy Lions. Bondi goes down, the smite comes out, Eclipse should follow shortly thereafter. Riddy's doing so much damage, unfortunately the knockback just means it's a matter of time before Setter picks up the kill. 2-0, and Phantoms fight back.
I mean, the biggest thing is the usage of the Lamb's Respite there. Of course, Eclipse missing the hook shot definitely doesn't help, but the Lamb's Respite goes down, but guess what? Lane 0, both their low members actually run out of it. So maybe some communication errors there, because they could have definitely turned that around had they played around the ultimate there from Kindred. There's a reason it has such a long cooldown. Because of how impactful it is overall. And then, because of that, Riddy doesn't have it for himself to try and trade 1-for-1 with Blue to get that stack, as though might be finding it right here. Never mind.
Yeah.
Get the flash, though.
Yeah, TP from Plan B there from the Realm Warp coming in a little bit late. Alright, Riddy hitting the 4 stack mark, so that's going to be big for him. Going to be able to get a lot of upgrades, and now every 3 from here on out are going to be big upgrades as well, so Riddy just really, really strong. Going to be able to keep getting invades on this enemy jungle, and right now it really does feel like the Kindred's kind of the star of the show, because he's been everywhere. but in every fight he's doing so much. Whoa, huge engage from Rainy, gonna force the flash out of Swarm. Could see Riddy was already trying to walk away from that, but Riddy tries to go in, forces the flash out of Swarm. Swarm knows that Riddy's up there already, so doesn't want to take his chances. As it looks like it's going to be a trade of objectives here. Grubs for the first dragon, and, you know, I'm a little worried, but I don't think we're going to see what happened last game, this soul sweep. I think, realistically, Riddy wants to do this to get his laners this tower prio, because of how much Griffin has had, because of the early summoners blown from plan B, because of how strong the bot lane is, how far ahead the Camille is specifically, and how threatening that is, and especially for the Ziggs being able to get those early towers, being able to use that satchel charge to blow them, that's just going to be a huge, huge benefit.
Yeah, I mean, you really want grubs for Ziggs, right? Like, that's the most important objective on the map early for you as a team with Ziggs. They prioritize that instead of the dragon. Of course, we'll have benefits later as well, helping them get towers overall, but in the early game, right, it's all about pressing your gold lead on Ziggs, although in the CS department, not doing so hot. Could be doing better. That's kind of where we're at. Could be doing better. And now, this conversation of like, oh, look how, the Ziggs could be doing well. It's a 3-in-1 Sivir, right? This is, has 24 CS up on the Ziggs. And that's with no TP, by the way. That is a barrier setter on Sivir against the mage with TP and is up, 25 CS at this point, which is pretty absurd. Well played to the last thing there from setter.
Yeah. And right now, you can already see the invades coming through. They want that red buff, and it looks like we're going to be maybe seeing a fight for it as multiple teammates, Blue, getting ready to check here, uses the Q, uses the sweeper to try and find it, manages to get the smite, but stunned up, the ult comes out, and Blue's just annihilated. Voltage goes in to try and find something else, but he's slowed up as well, has to be very careful. Pops the ult for the damage reduction to try and get out, but it's, it's Constellation Prize. At least you don't go down trying to follow that, but Blue, face checking that bush was just a little bit too dangerous. Thought that he had the backup of his teammates, didn't realize that all of Blizzard was there, ready to do, whatever they wanted when he walked into that bush.
Yep, and nice snowballing coming through. Little update from production. Blue did get the red buff, so that's something. Complete, Yeah, something there, but 4-lane 0 definitely kicking up the pace now. Eclipse playing pretty well on the Camille. Has been some problems, but, who's really to blame Eclipse, okay? Camille can be hard, especially for a support who doesn't necessarily get to play Camille all that often, right? Like, she's certainly not meta all the time, so can't really
but I think it's her
people.
more played role right now because of how bad she is in top lane.
Yeah, for right now, for sure.
Put her out, unfortunately. I will say, if you are Phantoms right now, it's not, super far away. You're actually up gold thanks to the CS leads, but I do think you need to play around the Sivir. That being said, as much control as they've had over this map, it is kind of astounding that, these gold leads are ballooning 30 CS in the bot lane, 30 CS in the top side, somehow a CS lead in mid, so, despite all of the insanity, it's actually Phantoms that are up 1,000 gold.
Yeah, really benefits the Sivir in this scenario where you're like, man, this hyperscaler, right, is invade coming through, really does get that.
Yeah, Swarm has to be going in on it. The ult comes out, but not even have the W for that as Riddy picks up Swarm. Now in the bot lane, it looks like they were able to pick up Bondi through a dive. 1-for-1 trade across the map. But with the dragon coming up in a minute, Setter is going to be really strong, picking up all these waves, all these plates. And, this second drag it's not soul point or anything, but transferring into that third drag, transitioning into that stage of the game where, we're probably going to be seeing a lot more team fights, a lot more fights around these big objectives is really important to win this one.
Yeah, but Sivir should have 2 items now. Yep, there it is. Navori at 15. this is a fight that Ember unironically can win. Their Sivir is so accelerated at the moment. CS lead growing to just under 50, which is very concerning if you're lane Blizzard, or lane 0 Blizzard, sorry, not lane Blizzard, lane 0 Blizzard, as now the Drake has spawned in, only the second one of this game, so pretty slow things. Voltage already down to half HP. Does have ultimate though, but it looks like they're happy to give this one up and trade 1-for-1. Slows down any kind of soul win potential for either teams, which is appreciated, I guess, for Ember, because again, they scale incredibly well. Not to say lane 0 doesn't, but Zed is going to, funnily enough, outscale the Scion, right? Which, cannot believe I'm saying those words, but that's just how it works.
True.
Because the tankier the Scion gets in terms of HP, the more damage Zed is going to do.
Yeah, that being said, though, the Anivia scaling is pretty insane here. You could already see fight coming through onto plan B. Gonna be forced to use the Ghost and the Flash just to get out. Swarm shows that he's there as well, so not gonna aggress too far, but unfortunately Bondi getting picked up in his jungle. Blue jumping onto him, manages to get the fear, and it doesn't look like they're gonna be able to trade out right now as Voltage comes through. Tries to go in, lands a knock up onto Riddy, and now here's Setter. TP coming in from Rainy to try and join the fight, and now it's actually Voltage who's on the run, using the ultimate to try and get something through. Plan B, use the ultimate there. Unfortunately, the flash E from Rainy not going to be able to land, but a beautiful Q locks up Plan B, who tried to help his teammate out with the Realm Warp. Unfortunately, going to go down for that. And Riddy as well, managing to get another kill. Going for the top side, probably going to be able to pick up that mark is going to be huge, and maybe even the Rift Herald, just doing so well right now.
Yeah, really solid stuff out of lane 0. A nice punish. Although, could have maybe gotten more, but Rainy finds that nice Q knockup, so they do get the kill onto the Rise. Still a little concerned about the Sivir this game. I'm not going to lie, because she's about to get a tower, which into Ziggs is pretty insane. If you know anything about what's been happening in the meta. Because usually what should be happening is they just trade waves back and forth, and there's no, like, touching of towers ever. Ooh, decent attempt there on the Mega Inferno Bomb to try and kill out Blue. Does not hit its mark, though. So now it's Rift Herald. We'll see if teams prioritize this, as we're just under 2 minutes to Baron, so they have 2 minutes to take that objective. We'll see if they do so in the first place.
Yeah, and you can see Phantom's like just moving as a unit now. They're so scared to walk anywhere alone. After, you know, they just keep walking into the bushes, keep going down, and Blizzards have just been playing, Blizzards have just been playing this whole thing so well. And right now, all I can think of is this Herald is up. Surely at least one team goes for it at some point, right?
There were pings from lane 0, so it seems like they're trying to play for it, although maybe not in the best way. Like, they have time to do it, but basically you want to try and start this around 20 seconds to Baron, or sorry. 1920 is what I'm trying to say. 40 seconds before Baron spawns in, basically. But regardless, right now is... We're going to start it up now, so they will find the timing to do it. Although contest is possible here from Ember Phantom5 if they want it. Vision not that great, though.
And we'll have to see. The ult comes through. Blue turning off the lights, trying to jump onto Riddy. Unfortunately getting turned right back on. It's going to be Riddy with the smite. Manages to pick it up. Blue getting very low. Team has to be careful. Not able to land the Lamb's Respite. And Riddy goes down, taken out by Swarm in the shutdown. Now Rainy on to Setter, trying to take out the Sivir, but he flashes over the wall. Manages to pick it out, but the Mega Inferno Bomb picks it up. It's a double kill for the bot laner and a double kill for the top laners. Griffin takes out the enemy mid. Now it's just Voltage and Swarm left alive, as Rainy, Bondi, and Griffin are still up. Griffin pushing down the mid lane to get some damage down. Voltage has to be careful, though. They want to keep chasing. They want blood here. You can see Rainy gonna try and keep going. Unfortunately realizes that just a little bit too far away. But this entire time after they won the fight, Griffin was able to go mid and pick up another 2 plates. And now, you know, the gold lead, which was in favor of Phantoms, actually in favor of lane 0 now. Still not by much, only by a couple hundred, despite that huge fight win, which, you know, just goes to show how large some of the CS deficits are right now, especially in that bot lane. But catching up shortly, getting a lot of those kills is going to be a huge deal. And now 30 seconds to Dragon, going to give lane 0 another opening to take a team fight.
Yep, and I think if you are lane 0, you did unfortunately not get the eye, which, not the best, but it is what it is. You at least deny that from your opponents. And we are at 8 stacks on the Kindred at 21 minutes, which is pretty good. And by pretty good, I mean great, as Paranoia comes through.
Yeah, coming through, trying to find something here, but unfortunately the team's just a little bit grouped up. Will mean that Phantom are going to be able to pick up this Dragon for free. Well, not for free. Blue's probably going to die here, but still not the biggest steal unless they're just going to rip the Baron here.
Yeah, they have the Anivia damage. Of course, Kindred damage pretty good as well. They do kind of scalp this out a little bit, but with no jungler, there should be no contest whatsoever. And it's going to be Baron over to lane 0, as once again, they come out ahead off a pretty significant play there. Finding Blue in that top lane punishes that out, and realistically, other than some scrapes of gold that are going to happen here, seeming like lane 0 Typhoon is another team that lane 0 has that I cast. Lane 0 Blizzard is a team I do not cast other than today, and I'm gonna get those mixed up probably again later. Lane 0 Blizzard now in a very comfortable spot to bring this game home, although gold lead, as you mentioned, much closer than maybe wanted.
We'll have to see how it plays out right now. Obviously, lane 0 Blizzard doing a pretty good job of surviving right now. Blue gonna go in. They're gonna try and fight a fight with the Swarm on the engage. Blue goes in. Lots of damage comes through. Again, missing the Lamb's Respite. Not gonna be able to survive. Now Plan B going forward, trying to flash the Q. Manages to grab it onto Bondi and picking up another one. That seems like a massive misplay from lane 0 Blizzard there. They get jumped on, and instead of trying to use the Lamb's Respite, they just don't. They hold it for a second fight in a row, and Phantom's now back in the lead.
Yeah, that is a really solid turnaround there from Phantom. And big thing is that lane 0 Blizzard, right? Like, they kind of overstay their welcome in mid. They get punished for it. Teamfight doesn't go that great, and the Lamb's Respite missing once more, meaning Riddy goes down. Falls prey far too early on in that fight, and not able to do enough damage. Griffin on the Anivia at least clearing mid waves, so they can't get mid. But with how close some of these fights have been happening throughout this series, we're only on to game 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get another run it back moment like 3 times in a row again. So especially now that the gold lead is in the favor of Ember, much more dominantly as well, I should add. It was around 1k when they had the lead, and now we're looking at almost 2k. Plan B.
Yeah, Plan B might get caught out though. Blue tries to turn off the lights. Does dissuade them enough right now, but it doesn't dissuade Rainy, who's going in with the charge. Gonna try and land the knock-up onto Swarm, and they want to keep fighting this out. Riddy trying to land the poke, jumping forward, getting a lot of damage onto Swarm, who has to be very, very careful right now. Backing up, might have been able to make enough distance, as the rest of Phantom5 are going to keep him. Nice there. Voltage caught on the wrong side of the wall, though stunned up, and the CC chain is insanity as Riddy picks up yet another kill onto Voltage, and they turn their eyes towards the bot tower.
Did not have, or was not actually able to get out there, even through the ult. Just too much damage here from lane 0, and it's a good pick and should be able to net themselves a bot lane tier 1, where they're going to claim or tie up this gold lead. if they actually take this tower, that's an if.
I think it's an F. I think they're going to grab this pretty easily. I mean, it's going to take another wave, but Griffin should do enough damage, especially with the grubs. No, just going to leave? That's crazy to me.
Team resetting. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, you know, the dragon's up in a minute. You want to make sure you're there early enough to fight it out.
Definitely think the smarter decision was to overload that and get the tower and then reset as a team, but did not happen that way, as at least won't see an Anivia getting caught right before this Drake, which would have been far worse, to be fair, so, because that is soul point here for Ember, if they're able to pick that one up. Granted, we talked about last game that Ocean Soul isn't necessarily like an auto-win button or anything, and it's an Ocean Soul again this game. Honestly, kind of less impactful this game as well, so we'll see if whoever team gets behind on the Drakes, like if they even actually care. Of course, right now lane 0 are behind, but they do have the control over the map, so it should be going to them, tying things up 2-2 in the Dragon count.
Yeah, and right now, Phantom5 obviously really don't want to fight this, just because of how much control lane 0 has. Baron up in a minute. Probably just going to use that time to try and find a pick, try and find something, and right now they're jumping in. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like the follow-up was quite there. Blue smelled blood in the water, but it was a droplet from hours ago. There was nothing there. The rest of the team not there to follow up. Obviously, the dragon got taken a little bit too fast, so they weren't able to get that either. And now 45 seconds to the Baron. They might be trying to look for a pick, see if they can find someone else, but entirety of Phantom5 make it out. I expect to see a very big 5v5 approaching this Baron, though.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically do or die moment, in my opinion, for Ember. If they're able to get some kills here, deny this Baron, that's when we could see a potential comeback, because again, their scaling is great. Of course, you're also playing against the scaling comp as well with lane 0. But if they can hold on, they can find some of these key members in these fights. You got the ricochets coming in from Sivir, you also have the bounces coming in from the Rise. On top of that,
I was going to say, I don't know if it's do or die. Both teams are pretty even. I think this is the fight that's supposed to split the game open for either or. The game is just so even right now. I mean, both teams pretty close. You know, Phantom5 only 1,000 gold ahead. Both dragons pretty even. Map a little bit more opened up, I'd say, in general terms for lane 0 Blizzard, especially with that mid lane. But really, it's either team's game right now, and it really depends on how this next fight goes. It looks like both top laners are going to try and go bot. Just to fight over that tower right now. Gonna fight over the red buff, try and bait blue into potentially ulting this, try and go for something. Nope, just gonna smite it. And both teams, neither one forcing the Baron fight right now, just waiting, biding their time, making sure that they can get a good play. They don't want to rush it, they don't want to throw the game.
Yep, smart choice. But look at Sivir CS. 329 at 28, almost 29 minutes here. So doing a bit of chovying. Already 4 items on the Sivir. So this Sivir has the potential to go absolutely ballistic in this fight, but now Baron finally being started up. They should know this is going on. They do. And now the Vision Wars begin as they fall off Baron, and we probably go back to just dodging around mid lane until either the Drake spawns or they decide to pull the Baron. Nice poke onto Setter, actually.
Yeah, and I think right now the biggest thing is, like, forcing the TP out of Swarm is kind of a big deal, right? Because Swarm resets, he doesn't get back. If you want to send Rainy bot, you know, you could do that, but looks like they're just going to try and rip it again. Full knowledge that they're on it, and they're just going to keep doing it this time. They're waiting for the team to come. They're waiting for the fight to come to them. And it looks like Phantom5 just getting that prio in mid, trying to fight their way in through the river now. Lights finally come out. Have to see if anything big happens. The root comes down, blue in, but it's onto the enemy tank. Has to be careful. The Lamb's respite to block the smite. Unfortunately, Riddy was knocked out by Swarm. That dragon's still so low, only on 2,000. It's 1 for 1 right now, a 2 for 1 right now. Lane 0, Blizzard picks up a third, use the ultimate to try and get more damage onto the Baron, and it's the Ziggs that finally manages to pick it up. Swarm and Plan B, the only ones alive, and a huge fight win for Lane 0 Blizzard, grabbing them the Baron, and finally putting them firmly in the lead.
Slimmest of margins there, but Riddy with a perfect Lamb's respite to make sure the Baron does not get smited away, prevents the 50-50 from going through. Really well executed. And in that fight, right, of course, the Ziggs was able to live. Also, Rainy on the Scion, preventing this set from getting so much value in some of these fights that could honestly go the way towards Ember if that set could get that. And it's really hard. Blue popping that ult a little bit early. They didn't have the best kind of information to play around with, so they sent maybe a bit too early there. Get punished for it, and now Lane 0 Blizzard take this bot lane tier 1 with that Baron buff they just claimed.
Yeah, and really nice from Lane 0 Blizzard right now. They're just playing really well. And, you know, took a couple of bad fights. The Kindred has been, you know, an amazing early game and a little bit of a rougher mid game, just getting thrown around with all of that CC, but so far has managed to hold on pretty well. Team has been pretty good, and you can see from the gold graphs here, I mean, relatively evened up, but man, like, the entire lead is basically on the Sivir right now.
Yeah. Also kind of an issue is that all of this gold is on Sivir, and Sivir is in such a good position to carry and just hasn't been able to, unfortunately. Especially in that last fight, just could not really connect there, but maybe with this essentially last item that the Sivir's going to get before the game is over, as voltage almost just straight up dies there. Would have been tragic, as spot lane tier 2. I mean, this is deja vu from game number 1. Just reverse the teams.
Yeah, and right now, it's looking rough, right? Obviously, Phantom5 not the furthest behind, but do need to find a way to get back in at some point. Blue finally chasing in, trying to find a fight. A big ult there from Plan B, being able to follow up on Swarm's dive. Now they have to be careful. Finally a shutdown there. Team keeps winning. Griffin goes into Egg. Eclipse has to get out, but he won't be able to do it as a shutdown comes through for Setter. Another one for Blue, and an amazing fight win for Phantom5. And once again, I was praising the early game, but Riddy, the Lamb's respite has just been used 3 out of the last 4 fights for nothing. I mean, not used for nothing. Sorry, I mean, it's literally just still off cooldown. I don't understand it.
Give Riddy some credit there. He wasn't there, so kind of hard to use it when you weren't there.
That's fair. But I feel like when you see the Lamb's
definitely should have been there. Should have been there, but just was not. I think what's kind of showing through, at least for me, is Lane 0 Blizzard. Some of their communication doesn't seem to be the best, right? You recall Rainy utilizing the ult on top as Riddy is walking away, right? Like, it does seem like there's some potential communication errors happening here for Lane 0, and that could have just been one of them. Is and of course, majority stat is on that Sivir, but now this Rise is proving to be a real threat in this game, as the Frozen Heart picked up, has that actualizer as well, and you know, there's not a lot of objectives for 2 minutes, right? And then from there, the game could really blow open. Baron in 2 minutes, you have Soul Point or Soul. Lane 0 for Soul, Soul Point for Ember. 2.5 minutes now, as still control going in the way of Lane 0, at least in these earlier plays, in the earlier phase of getting vision and control established, as Ember don't necessarily feel the most confident to be able to challenge that at the moment, as Setter will continue to clean out this mid wave, stack up more CS, 410 CS, Flame Horizoning.
On that 6th item, I mean, it's crazy.
Also with this QSS, that's going to be more lifesteal, so this poke is definitely not going to stick as well onto Setter as it otherwise would have. And now we're looking at a potential moment here where Lane Zero are kind of on the back foot. Right, double mage does unfortunately actually get outscaled most of the time. Especially Ziggs against this kind of like item deficit comparatively to the Sivir. Is certainly outscaled, but hey, guess what? Sivir cannot get any stronger from this point. There are no stat anvils in Summoner's Rift. So that's cool, I guess.
Yeah.
You just get Elixir of Wrath, and that's it.
Ooh, Engage now coming out. He turns off the light. Swarm flashes in. Gets a 5-man ultimate. The pullback in. Amazing W from Swarm. And what a fight win right there. Phantom5 with absolute annihilation. And they're just going to start running it down mid. This might be game. Once again, ready. Where is the Lamb's Respite? Where was it?
Swarm, what the hell was that? Out of nowhere from the top ropes, quite literally. 3-man
that was an
into
amazing
a triple kill there.
right there.
That was disgusting. Oh
Sorry,
my
I'm
god, that
commenting
wasn't
on
even on
right
the
now, but
set.
Swarm did make an amazing play. Like, let's not get it twisted. That was a amazing ultimate into pull into just insane W. What game from Phantom5? What an explosive finish.
That is definitely a mental breaker for sure. Because they were in such a good position to win that game as Lane Zero, and even though they were making some mistakes, right, towards the end, it was getting shakier, they still were in a decent position, right? But the game to just end off of that mistake is just absurd. I mean, you saw how little time they had to react. Literally every single person in that game, or in that fight, on the side of Lane Zero did not press their ult. They just got completely obliterated in the blink of an eye. Just no time to react to that play whatsoever. It's a good usage of the paranoia, and then comboing that off of the set as well. Really well played from Ember to hold down and then find the explosive play to end this game off. But for Lane Zero, you had such a great early game, but it all came crashing down once you started feeding gold over to the enemy team. Some shutdown gold going over. Denial of, of the Sivir getting gold was a pretty big problem as well. Again, Flame Horizon here for the Sivir ending out in that game. By far and away, a pretty tragic end here for Lane Zero, but we still have one more left in us when it rains to see if they can take us to game 4 minimum, right? Like, Lane Zero can bounce back here to at least take us to a game 4, but as things have gone, Ember lead the way with a 2-0.
Yeah, and I want to say, your biggest thing is you need to get the mental reset here. You need to just take a breather, get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, chill, come back, ready to win, because that you were right. That was kind of a mental breaker in that last fight. Just huge engage from Swarm. Another missed ultimate from Riddy. You were doing so well, and for the game to just end right then and there, it really is quite tragic. So I think it's really going to be on Lane Zero to make sure that they can come back refreshed, come into this with a clear view, adapt and learn with what they've played with. Because if they play like they've been playing in the last games, even with those signs of life, it's just a little bit too sloppy, I think, to close it out. And I expect Phantom5, if they keep the ball rolling, then they should be able to take this 3-0 pretty handily.
Yeah, all right. Well, with that, folks, we're going to take a quick break before we get into the next draft. Please do not go anywhere, as more games on the horizon. Well, at least guaranteed one more. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back. Game 3, Draft 3. We're back. Side swaps. Maybe for the better of things. Get some new, get a new environment. Little breath of fresh air here for Lane 0 Blizzard after pretty heartbreaking loss in that last game. It was going so good until it wasn't, and that happened in a blink of an eye. They lose the game and drop game number 2. But we're back on into the draft here when it rains. It's now keeping the Bard ban, I think, is smart. Seraphine as well. Don't want to play against Ash Seraphine, especially now that Mel's down. That's been a pretty big counter to that. So keeping bans relatively the same here. Lane 0 Blizzard still opting for their kind of 80 carry bans. Tristana can be flex, but has been making her appearance in the bot lane more often than not at the moment. But regardless, we're now on to first pick, and for Lane 0 Blizzard, they just got to close out a game. That's it. That's the goal. Just close out a game. Early game was great last game. In fact, Kindred had an absurd amount of marks. That was like a solo queue kind of Kindred game in terms of marks, but unfortunately could not get it over the line into a game win, as Xin will be the first pick here for Ember.
Yeah, and pretty standard first pick. I'm not shocked to see it, and you can see Phantom5 banning out the Seraphine again. Don't want a repeat of that mage bot lane. Even though they won, it was still a bit of a contentious point for them, so just banning it out, making sure that they don't have access to it. A lot of ADCs banned out right now, actually, and we're seeing the Nico locked in. Typically sees play in the support role right now, but, could go a number of places. I've seen it, even jungle, so I wouldn't be shocked to see it as a flex. But if I had to guess, given the Camille support, given some of the unorthodox options, I'd have to take a gander that it's probably going support, especially with the Caitlyn locked in this combo, especially if you land the root. Caitlyn's able to follow very easily. You have a lot of damage, a lot of team fight potential with that ultimate. Seems like Lane 0 really want to lean into another strong bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely a smart thing to do, but CS department needs some help. Okay, last game we got Event Horizon, so that's the goal, is to not get Event Horizon. Right, one step in the right direction, as it will be the Karma. I wonder if this is going to be like a Gen Karma lane, as we'll be at least hovered here as it and locked in. So some counterability here into the Caitlyn, but the kill threat off of Caitlyn Eco still requires a lot of mechanical prowess from the Karma Gen and not get E'd ever by Nico, or they're going to lose half their health guaranteed. So
yeah, and a bit surprised not to see like the Ashe Karma as one of those things, but I think the Jhin is completely fine, especially if you draft a bit more damage. Obviously the Jhin not able to cut through front lines as well, but really good at being that sort of very strong, yes, but plays a bit more like a supportive ADC, right? Is really about providing like cover fire with that curtain call with some big damage in the fourth shots, rather than going in and trying to hard carry 1v9 fights himself. And with the Xin Karma, that's already, you're able to do that. I'm expecting to see a strong mid laner and potentially, one of those bruiser top laners. I was about to say something like the Aatrox as it immediately gets banned out. But, other mids still up. Things like the LeBlanc are really good right now. Pretty decent pairing with the Xin Zhao, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Yorick ban as well, obviously. They know now that the counter pick is in there, so someone has it in the pool. Don't want to see it. Don't want to deal with it at all.
Well, you still have things like Silas as well to steal away the Pop Blossom, can also steal away Subjugate, which can be pretty impactful here. But seeming like it's going to be a cast and ban here for Lane 0. Also to mention, can't really pick Silas this game if you're Lane 0. So we'll see how they manage that. Of course, Cass still available here. Same thing as Ori. Cass and Ori have made it through all the way, which is pretty shocking. Hey, speaking of. So maybe potential Silas setup here for Ember to pick up. I'm very curious what Lane Zero is going to do here with their pick. I think this is probably best to pick your mid laner blind unless you're going to pick a tank because you have Trundle, so you don't need to worry about it that much. I guess would be... Where is my mind at? But seeming like it is going to be that tank, so I am correct. They agree with me. That will be the Cassante, and they're going to leave the mid lane counter pick available here as Galio being hovered. See, now you're starting to, like, kind of give the case towards Silas this game. Means you don't have to worry about it as well in the future, but will be Galio locked in.
Yeah, and I do like the Galio. My one worry now is that they really need a strong top laner, and it looks like the Mordekaiser is going to be their pick. Here, though, the AD mid laner is getting hovered to sort of counteract that Galio, knowing that they already have pretty good front line in the Cassante and the Trundle. Or maybe just going for the safe option in a way. It's not amazing, but, you know, you have options. Silas is, you know, mentioned still open. Unfortunately, into the Galio, kind of a rough matchup. So I wouldn't expect to see it. I'd expect the Hui, being that safe pick, obviously pairing with the Caitlyn very well. And it looks like that's exactly what Lane Zero are going to go for.
Yeah, also, funnily enough, of all mages, Hui performs pretty well into the Galio, shockingly. So, should be easy sailing. Now, what I want Lane Zero to do is they need to recognize that they're 80 carry locked in Caitlyn this game. Meaning, you need to cover bot. If Caitlyn gets behind in the early game, you might as well just FF. Because the biggest issue is she, of course, has this pretty weak mid game, and you don't want to lose the value of your early game dominance if your Caitlyn is getting chain ganked and you're not covering it. And with your Cassante top, pretty easy to weak side, so should be easy sailing here for the Caitlyn to stand right outside tower place, punish out the Jhin early game, lack of wave clear. Although, of course, the Jhin matchup gets better as the game progresses, giving the range back towards him. And the pick potential is always nice. But we'll see how it comes down in this game. When it rains, any last thoughts before we send it to break?
Yeah. Don't feed the Caitlyn.
Yeah, smart choice. All right, we're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, folks.
I'm just that good.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, welcome back onto the Rift for Game 3. We're singing karaoke and call waiting for this game to start. We're losing our minds. Thank God we're back. All right, Phantom5 up 2-0 in the series right now.
We're so back. Oh
so
yeah. Hello. Welcome in. Yeah. I think Mordekaiser is such an X Factor champ because it's like it's like two extremes. It's either like so impossible to play against or it just does nothing. So hopefully here for Ember they're able to have their Mordekaiser be the 1v9 unkillable Demon King, I guess. Mordekaiser. Demon Revenant, Iron Revenant is actually his title, but Bondi definitely needing to step up here. Very pivotal game, of course. This is playoffs. 5. Of course.
I was about to say, dude, Mordekaiser's lore is so awesome. You know, you got the Iron Revenant. Dude, this guy was literally, he died, he saw nothing after death, and then he's like, alright, I'm gonna do it myself. And then he made, like, he made hell, and then he's like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do it myself.
Yeah. Pretty good lore. Man,
Big Rune coming out, lots of damage too. Wow. Bondi already getting very low, has to be careful as Setter walks up, just trading out right now. Has that 4th shot, and Bondi needs to be careful. Bondi can't walk up while that 4 shots up.
I'm so surprised as soon as like that bouncing grenade or dancing grenade didn't hit. I'm surprised Setter didn't just flash 4th shot there. That would have killed.
Yeah.
Scared of Bondi's reaction time though, so respectful. You don't want to have to waste this. Another flash burn here. I mean,
-1
this
cannon.
this is horrid early game here for this bot. Like Caitlyn Nico. This is definitely not going away.
Big knock up from the Galio. Big damage onto Griffin. Has to be careful. The auto's coming through. One more auto will take him out, but he's not going to flash it. Knows that Griffin has the flash too. Knows that his is more valuable. Plan B, not getting greedy there.
Yeah,
I really like the respect.
Yeah, I really like the patience as well, because the thing is, if, let's say Setter does flash and then Bondi reacts in time, you've now traded positive, or you've traded neutrally with the other AD carry.
I was talking about mid, but...
Oh, I'm getting around there. I'm getting around to it, okay? If you flash there, Trundle can gank you, and then you've just lost all of your lead, right? Because you're going to get pillared, and you can't do anything. But on the flip side, right, if Griffin, you know, utilizes flash, right, and then Plan B tries to flash after, either he could die to tower, right, or again, it also opens up that opportunity for the Trundle to gank mid, right, whereas for Griffin, it's much easier to actually get out of, like, a Zin's out gank, because you have fear, right, so as long as you're able to space the Galio, which for the most part is actually pretty easy on the play, especially if you're scared. Nice voltage. Let's find Riddy in the jungle. So will Blue, but won't be really anything voltage, just saying hello as the wave is under, just outside of the tier 1 and bot. Bondi now counting minions. Which one's the real one? I know which is a real minion and which one's not. Yep. Nice play there by Setter. Avoids needing to utilize any summoner spells. Is able to count minions, so congratulations. Sometimes it is hard for League players to count, myself included. Math is a pretty hard skill. I mess it up all the time.
You gotta hit the good old-fashioned Twitch chat. What the hell is a kilometer?
Yeah, exactly. Like, surely this is like a 1,000 gold lead already, right?
Yeah, I mean, like 100 is basically.
Yeah, if you just
it's just a zero, and zero is nothing. So if you add it, then it doesn't do anything, right?
I just round a lot. That's all. I just round a lot. Setter now.
Calling it a 1K gold lead is like asking the teacher to round your 60 up to a 95.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's just like a little bit. It's just a little bit.
Just a small roundup. Just a small charity, basically, of the grade. But Swarm is chilling in this top side. Doesn't have a lot of kill pressure yet because he has yet to back. Rainy, of course, already backing this. Bondi does get tagged, but Brady's positioning here. Trying to bait this out, of course. Also has barrier ready. Very patient, but also Blue is here on the Krugs. Riddy's gonna actually call that one off. Mana pretty low here. Now gonna walk back.
Sticking around.
Both junglers covering here.
Yeah.
Grenades.
And it's kind of a situation like last time where it's like you're kind of delaying your back, just sitting here waiting to try and play it. And so far it hasn't led to anything, and it's gonna happen. This time though, Riddy is gonna make the call to finally go for the dragon, unlike last game. Which should put them ahead early. Is on a ward though, so has to be careful. You can see Blue, you know, wanted to run top side, now immediately gonna run back towards this bot side to play for this dragon. Rotation coming through from Envy as well. It's gonna be dangerous right here. Griffin on the rotation too. A flash forward from Blue, just wants to go in immediately on it. The pillar to not get back. We'll have to see. Riddy's getting very low. The dragon has to be careful here. They're going to try and use the taunt to fight this off. Ult coming through from the Galio. Damage comes through. Damage onto the Drake. They're going to finally secure it. The heal comes through. Riddy goes down, and it's first blood for Satyr.
Oh my god, Blue was at 1 HP there.
That was crazy.
Galio ult actually saves him just barely. Just barely. A hair. A hair left on the HP bar there of Blue. Nice play by Plan B. Although I do need to give some credit, Riddy actually hits a really insane pillar, which both forces Plan B's E to bonk into it, and then also as Blue went to go E, it actually stopped the dash. As we're missing a kill in bot lane, as that happens under the tier 1, and it's a 2v2 kill for Setter. And now this is a 2-0 Jhin. This is a Jhin with Cull, by the way, which is something you don't really see a whole lot, like, very often. And now it's a BF sword. This is a pretty snowballing start here for Ember. They also were able to pick up that Drake in that last play, and things have just been going from bad to worse this entire series, unfortunately for Team Zero. So hopefully they're able to bounce back. Still got some time in this game, so not all hope is lost.
I mean, right now, obviously, you know, Phantom5 with a big lead, but, you know, it ain't over just yet. No time for Setter, no curtain call to follow up on that. But a lot of good damage, and has to be very careful. Team coming back, just going for the 2v1 right now, going for the damage. You know, still without the curtain call, I think is a little bit of a rough situation. Obviously, the ult there from Bondi to sort of dissuade any more aggression there from Setter. But man, the man cannot miss tonight. Just shot after shot coming back, and now it's Voltage over here, making sure that they can't do anything else.
A sad Caitlyn is a Caitlyn without getting tower plates, as she's forced to back away. Rainy
Ult comes out from Swarm.
Oh, good W.
And then nice ult from Rainy. Tries to go back in, does manage to pick up the 1-for-1. And honestly, in that situation, that's the best you can hope for. Really nice trade there from Rainy onto Blue in a 2v1.
That was an insane W buffer to stop the Crescent Guard knockback.
Damage coming through. Flips in the mid lane. Griffin trying to get some damage off. The ult already got used and no more, but Plan B is going to be forced back here, knowing that Eclipse and Riddy could jump on him at any minute.
Does have teleport, so shouldn't be that bad. It's actually going to be the AP Galio variant, at least for right now. Could tech into some MR later. But Setter, huge lead in this bot lane, but crucially Rainy there utilizing the W to cancel out the Crescent Guard knockback, and then we can look at the gold here. Already a 1k lead for this gen, which for counter matchup, you know, especially one that Caitlyn actually wins early on. Definitely not where you want to be. Of course, Karma kind of does get in the way of that sometimes. Her damage output can't be quite high, but regardless, Lane Zero on a bit of a up and up, hopefully, as they definitely need something to go their way, as they're at risk of losing this game and this series. So they need to come up with ways to win this game. As Setter, some good poke actually coming through now, so that's nice.
Good damage as well, and yeah, I think you pointed out well. Setter with the huge lead is going to be a really big deal heading into a lot of these early fights, because the Jhin is one of those champs that just, like, it kills, you know, fine. Caitlyn's kills fine, you know, with a lot of damage, but isn't great from behind, right? In a neutral state, really good, can one-shot those squishies, you know, and in a head state, even more damage. From behind, it feels like you're kind of plonking away at nothing. So, you know, whichever ADC got the lead here was always going to do well, and right now that's Setter. And I wouldn't be shocked to see another fight here on the bot side if Blue wants to go for it, but unfortunately, a little bit too far out, Setter, a little bit too far out, and Lane Zero just a little bit too willing to play it safe, so nothing going to be happening right there.
Yeah, I also kind of appreciate, at least from Ember, with a much more... How do I put this? I guess much more methodical early game. Last game was... They definitely did let things get way too far out of hand. Kind of putting themselves on the back foot for majority of that game until they literally just turn it around in the blink of an eye and won the game off of it. So this game, definitely much slower and definitely smarter as Eclipse is found out here. Curtain Call, not the best use, as it actually does get canceled by Caitlyn walking up, so they won't have that for this Drake, which we'll see if that actually matters. No flash on Griffin, though.
Yeah, not looking great right now. But, you know, it's one of those things where losing the flash on the mid laner is, you know, kind of a rough situation to be in, especially coming up to this fight. Because at any point, you get jumped on by that Xin Zhao, by that Galio, you just die now. And without positioning either, it's going to be another free Drake. You know, in much the same vein as it feels like a lot of these games are going, with Phantom5 just picking up Drakes super easily. Now Bondi has to be careful getting jumped on. A good ult from Eclipse to keep Setter from going too far forward. And the lethal tempo popping off lets Bondi do another dose of damage as well. Even with both ultimates, they're going to be able to force the enemy back bot lane off, but not able to get a kill, even in a good situation, you know, which just feels really rough if you're in zero.
And this should be plates, though. That is a win.
That's true. That's a big benefit.
That should be some plates here. Yeah, there it is. So really nice crystalline overgrowth there for 2 plates. You just missed from Bondi, and oh no. Oh, well played. Really well played from Plan B there. So
yeah, that was just a really nice catch onto Bondi. Didn't even see it coming. Had the flash, had the barrier. Nope, just deleted.
Funny thing is, by the way, is if lane 0 just let the spot lane back, that play never happens. They would have committed to their back. So they would have just gotten tower plates for free. But instead they cancel the back, so now Setter and Voltage had to stay, or felt like they had to stay, to not lose basically 3/4 of their entire tower. And Caitlyn gets punished for it, so... Like I said, League is a game of margins, and sometimes those margins are so thin, but they matter so much as Blue finds Gritty.
Yeah. Doing a lot of damage right now, going in on already. Blue doesn't land the Wind Becomes Lightning, though, not able to keep going. And just a couple summoners for a couple summoners, no trades right out. Unfortunately, though, Bondi has to be careful. Setter going forward, lands the 4th shot, has the curtain call open, and is going to try and fire it off. Voltage right there could have tried to go for it, unfortunately, just waiting it out. I think because the Nico was there, really worried to keep going aggressively, especially if they weren't able to pick up a kill onto Bondi. If he was able to flash, could have ended up in disaster, but Setter just going to land that curtain call, force Bondi to start backing here, push in the wave shortly, and yeah, another decent trade of resources, but still no more kills right now. It is another 2,000 gold lead, though, for Phantom5, and they've just been doing so well this series, it feels like. I'm kind of worried that even with sort of similar play, they've been doing a lot of the same thing. It seems like lane 0 just haven't learned. It feels like they haven't been adapting to these rotations. They keep falling for the same traps every time.
Yeah, although Riddy is hanging here, but it seems like Ember are happy to just play safe. Also, they saw the mid laner rotating down as well, so it's going to be called off, and now use Plan B, who doesn't have flash, being maybe looked at by Riddy, but Riddy's going to call that one off too, and not really finding a whole lot of value here from this Trundle pick. Trundle, of course, doesn't really scale that great into the late game. Especially when there's no tank, right? Because you don't get as much value from Subjugate. There are some decently tanky members, but majority of their tank stats come from HP, which Subjugate doesn't really help with. Oh my goodness, this damage is coming out from Setter is just absurd. at the moment, and that's basically one item. So yeah, forcing that base out now, and things just continue to go from bad to worse to even worse as that gets canceled there for Bondi. And we're a minute away from Soul Point Drake, and it is a Mount Soul, so I guess Trundle, pretty nice with that, as Pink mid lane, Griffin is just deceased.
Yeah, God, so many of these plays have just been happening so quickly, right? Blue goes in, you're like, all right, they're doing a little trip, boom, Plan B comes in, just immediately annihilated. Now a big fight in the top side, though, as Swarm gets knocked back into the tower, has to be careful, flash forward for Rainy, and oh my god, lives on a sliver of HP, almost managed to do it. That was really clean from Rainy, I'm gonna be honest. Unfortunately, though, just a sliver of HP left, wasn't quite able to land that last little bit of damage. Would have looked really cool, though, but unfortunately, Swarm gonna be able to pick up another kill in that top side. Not even going for any of the more bruisery, just straight for the Leandry, straight into their allies, big on the AP. Tons of damage, and it feels like Phantom5 know that they want to end the game right here, right now. They don't want, or sorry, end the match right here, right now. They don't want going to a game 4, you know, maybe going to game 5. No. End it right here, 3-0. This is where it's over. Now unleashing the curtain call, though, onto fake Bondi, who's actually Eclipse, as he manages to escape there. Blowing the disguise. Griffin hiding in the tri-bush, trying to land some good damage down onto Voltage, who is going to be there. Riddy using the pillar, using the Caitlyn ultimate to try and get something in, but Plan B going to be able to use the hero's entrance to back the rest of the team off. TP's coming in, the fights are still here. It looks like they might just be willing to give this dragon as Blue and Plan B rotate back over, and they're just going to walk through mid, knowing that, unfortunately, with the catch, they're not going to be able to fight back in onto this dragon. Too many resources used. Voltage just a little bit too low HP. So they're going to go in and try and get what little they can, which looks right now just to be the enemy Raptors. Nope, not even.
I really wonder, by the way, if they actually thought that was like the real Caitlyn at that HP threshold.
I feel like with the curtain call they had to, right?
Yeah, like the way they were playing definitely felt that way. And I think that's actually what ended up straight up having them needing to give up that soul point. You know, at least their soul points. It's a long time coming for Lane Zero to get their soul points in this game. Another 10 minutes, but the way they were playing definitely got fooled by the Nico, I think. Although, perhaps, maybe that wasn't it. Maybe they thought they could have picked the Nico, and they just didn't have the members there. But Swarm able to walk himself away from, although Voltage.
Yeah, damage now. Knock up onto Voltage, has to be careful. Swarm, though, on the flank. A knock up here, and it's going to be Eclipse that goes down first in the fight over the Heralds. Griffin just pushing in on the top side, Bondi pushing in on the mid, trying to get towers, but unfortunately when you're getting those towers, it means that your team is without you at the team fight. And I think that was just, again, another lack of communication from Lane Zero. Oh, TP coming through from Plan B, gonna try and find the pick onto Griffin, who manages to get the fear. Getting the slow off. Plan B might just flash this one. Yep, goes for it. Goes for the E. Oh, misses the taunt, though, as Griffin flashes away. Right? Use the QE, but now Griffin is stuck behind enemy lines. He's going to use the TP. No, the root is not going to land, and the TP out to safety from Griffin. Big dodge on that taunt.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, and Rainey's dead again on the top side.
Yeah, this is the unfortunate bit of getting counterpicked, right? But... yeah, I think, yeah, Lane Zero they are struggle busing right now in this game. They desperately have to hold on. Basically what needs to happen is they need to somehow find a way to get this next dragon. And then from there, they have to give the dragon after that, just so Caitlyn can scale up. Because Caitlyn is a pretty strong champ right now. She can do some disgusting amounts of damage in fights with headshot. But she's so far away from that. So you're gonna need to find time, or find a way to buy time, as Swarm is going to get spiraling spare into Severing Bolt. Yeah, that's the play combo right there. Griffin gets a shutdown. So that's nice. Nice little compensation gold to go in their pockets, but it's still a 5k lead here. Setter. Let's get pretty low there.
Yeah, trying to get the damage off. How aggressive. Read onto Voltage, though. Gonna stop them from going too far forward. And Setter's just been playing on a knife's edge this whole game, and it still doesn't matter. Just making it out with his life every time, doing so much damage now. Second item, Infinity Edge. I mean, you can tell there. That's courage right there. That's the knowledge that you're good enough to pull it off.
Hey, it's the Jin dream as well, right? You're like, man, I want to be so fed. I can afford IE second. You know, like, and indeed, is Blue looking to play something mid here, but unable to find the wind becomes lightning, so that's going to dissolve, and they actually lose their mid tier 1. Kind of a drop of macro here. I give some criticism to Ember, even though they're doing quite well, as in this game in particular, they've actually been kind of dropping a lot of their side lanes and over-grouping a little bit too often. So they are actually losing gold, although the gold at the top doesn't necessarily reflect that. They are actually dropping some gold. They're just this far ahead, so it doesn't really affect them too much. But still, something to improve upon. As Bondi... This is not the real Bondi, this is Eclipse.
Yep, and getting engaged on there with the hero's entrance. The curtain call comes out. Griffin gonna try and find the shutdown onto Setter in the back, and he's able to do it. Now a flash there from Rainy to get the slow onto Plan B. Plan B has to be careful, but he gets shut down by Rainy, who's finally joined the fight. Eclipse goes down, and now the enemy KADC has to be careful. Bondi getting jumped on by Swarm, who's just this massive raid boss of a Mordekaiser right now, able to pick up the double. Gonna look for the triple, going back onto Griffin. Blue healing up with the passive, the 3-talon strike, able to pick up Griffin as well. Rainy the last one alive, and in a 2v1, Rainy knows that without that all-out form, and maybe even with it, he's not able to return it. Soul point gonna be slowly secured for Phantoms. And, you know, it was a good pick on to Saturday. I really like how Griffin kind of ignored the main fight to immediately go for that Jhin. Was really helpful. Unfortunately, the rest of the team just a little bit too weak right now in this game state to be able to win the rest of the fight.
Yeah, do you remember what I said about Mordekaiser? He's either, you know, basically, like, unkillable, or he does nothing. In this case,
he's the raid boss or the trash mob. There is no in between.
In this case, he's the level 50 mafia boss. As Setter, unfortunately, does get picked out in that last fight. So shutdown gold over to Griffin. Griffin again playing that one pretty smartly, waiting for the current call to come down and punishes Setter for that. Positioning from Setter definitely could have been better for the curtain call. Was basically utilizing half of the range of it, which usually atypical, right? But fight did kind of break out, as another fight might break out soon here in the mid lane. Suffering Bolt will miss.
Yeah. Both teams just positioning for these 5v5s around the Baron right now, and you know both teams are just fishing for it. They're gun
oh, no way!
Huge engage from Eclipse there. Goes in, but it's going to be Eclipse that falls first with the hero's entrance, able to take the rest of the team to safety. Blood has to be careful. Riddy has to be careful, but neither of them are going to survive. Now Rainy getting fired on with the curtain call. Lou on top of him. The knockup coming shortly. The pull back in from Swarm. Even with the unstoppable, it's not going to matter. And even with the miracle engage, it's not going to matter. Phantom5 just too strong for lane 0 to overcome.
I'm not sure about Baron here. I feel like Stray Severing Bolts could have meant a few kills, but
maybe I'm going to be honest. I don't even know if it matters. If that realistically, if that Eclipse engage can't win you the game, I don't think you have a chance at this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, everyone's like, wow. I mean, I'm so shocked that Ember even allowed that to happen. They saw Eclipse turn into the minion.
Yeah, they let it happen and then won anyway.
Like, I mean, I guess that's an extreme amount of aura farm, but respect. But yeah, insane engage from Eclipse, but there really wasn't any follow-up prepared for it, right? Like, there was nothing layered on top of it. They just Eclipse finds the miracle, but
Change your view.
0 all but asleep. Although Swarm he likes these odds.
Big damage coming through now. It's Swarm picking up one.
He's
Trying to
still
stay alive.
alive.
Doesn't even get taken out. Plan B able to get it. And the slap to take out the Nico. Now Rainy has to be careful. Doesn't take a huge amount of damage from Setter, but takes just enough to back him off. Now marching down mid with the Baron buff. I don't know if it's quite game, but it's at least the inhibitor. And with the Soul spawning in 2 minutes, I mean, you gotta ask the question, how the hell did Lane Zero come back from this? Isn't even possible.
So in theory, Cassante becomes unkillable, right, guys? That's the play.
Gotta throw the Showmaker copy pasta in there. And...
in theory, right? In theory, your Caitlyn will be able to one-shot like all of the backline of Lane Zero. Or sorry, of Ember. Sorry, no friendly fire in this game. And also to think, right? Eclipse finds that miracle engage. How often is that gonna happen? Like again? Like never. In fact, they didn't even win with that miracle engage. So, if they're not winning with that, and the chances of that miracle engage happening again, and then it also be a fight where they actually win. I don't know. The stats are genuinely just not on their side at all. But I have seen crazier things happen. In fact, Lion giving up Soul and then winning the game anyway. Giga Chat in A. Anyways, Setter.
Swarm behind. Yeah, they're gonna try and find Setter here, using all of the resources to try and chase him down, but he's gonna pop the cleanse to make sure he can get out to safety. And it's Swarm in the backline, managing to find Bondi with the ultimate. Now the curtain call opened up, the engage coming through. It's the, oh my god, Setter with one, Swarm with another. The hero's entrance was able to get so much damage off. They try and find voltage, but they might not even be able to find the support here. As Rainy, does manage to take out a 1 kill. Unfortunately, gonna die in the process. And I don't know if Griffin and Riddy are enough to keep this alive. We'll see. They're gonna go to the top side to try and fight this out, and they're just gonna leave Blue to solo that dragon. They are gonna have Plan B back and have the TP if necessary, but yeah, just such a dominating control of this game at this point. Over 10,000 gold lead, 12,000, and a soul coming up. I mean, Lane Zero have just been given the worth this entire series, but this game was domination. The others, there were signs of life. This one, it's difficult to watch at this point.
Oh, yeah, it is hard, and now Riddy. Oh, nice little double root there. This is a trundle.
Has to be careful. Riddy doing a lot of damage. I think Blue could have gone in on this and tried to win this fight if he wanted to, but unfortunately, a little too late, and now Griffin has showed up. So they are going to manage to take out the Galio. But the soul was retrieved. Baron's coming up in 2 minutes. And unless... I was about to say, unless they find a miracle, Lane Zero are going to be dead to rights on this Baron, but even with the miracle that they found last time, they still weren't able to do it, and that was from an even, better position for them. Not great still, but not as terrible as it is now, so I don't know if there's a shot left. But if there is, it's going to start with a pick somewhere, hopefully, in this min lane. Preferably onto one of the carries before that Baron spawns.
Yeah, or you kill Blue. Because Blue has a nice little 700 gold shutdown. That's
true.
Alright. So yeah, I mean, 5k lead for Jhin. It's winnable. We outscale. Don't worry. We're scaling. 4k lead for the Mordekaiser. Don't worry, we're scaling. 3k lead for Jhin South. Don't worry, we're scaling. Only person with the lead here for Lane Zero is Griffin, who's actually up 2k. So they're going to need a miracle and a half just to even have a chance of stopping their Nexus from exploding in the next 5 minutes. Let alone to try and destroy their opponent's Nexus.
Hey, one step at a time, one step at a time.
One step at a time, that's correct.
Blowing up opponent's Nexus is like step 23 at this point, right? You just gotta... Right now, step 1 is like giving your red buff and trying to find a pick before this Baron, but unfortunately, Group just so easily is fight. And you can see how far back Setter is just playing it so safely right now, making sure that he doesn't get caught, sticking with voltage, sticking with the team, making sure that he doesn't make any mistakes, doesn't give this enemy a chance to collapse. 10 seconds to the Baron now.
Yeah, 10 seconds, and they have full control. And we talked actually about like the Caitlyn champ and all her strengths and stuff, and she actually has decent items, but one thing she doesn't do great at is trying to push forward because she doesn't have traps set out, right? This is much harder as... Oh, they're going.
Oh, Swarm, flash over the wall, immediately taking the ult onto Riddy. They're going to try and take out this jungler very early on. The fight here now with no flash, finally going to be able to get over the wall. Hero's entrance comes through, but it might not be enough. Eclipse comes through, the damage comes through. This might be enough. They're desperately trying. The carries are still alive, but Griffin and Bondi are not going to be enough as Phantom5 absolutely tear through their opponents. Flash over the wall from Setter. Doesn't even need the 4-shot to finish it off. It's a Quadra, a perfect Jhin ending to a perfect Jhin game, or nearly there. 10-1-3. Setter, the absolute legend this game, has just been playing so well, and they're going to march down to victory. A 3-0 playoff win for Phantom5 over Lane Zero. And quite honestly, Setter just played phenomenally this entire series.
Yeah, well deserved. I mean, they did get the better of their opponents. I mean, game 2 definitely maybe a gift, but overall, I mean, very well. Game 1 and game 2 definitely well deserved, and game 3, sorry, game 1 and game 3. In game 2, they held on long enough, and then they just found literally the game-winning fight, the one instance of a game-winning fight there. To make this a 3-0, congratulations to Ember for moving on, and unfortunately for Lane Zero, this is where they're going to hang up. I'm pretty sure there's no double elim. I could be wrong, but pretty sure there's not. If I'm wrong, I just work here, okay? And I just work here very rarely, so you can't blame me, alright? I'm just filling in today. Anyways, congrats to Ember, and for Lane Zero, just tough showing, for sure. And look, actually, you know what? Before we try to sign off or anything, I need to get this out there to coaches. Stop picking, like, Trundle. Just stop picking Trundle when there's no tanks in the game. Like, Trundle is fine as a Xin Zhao counter, but you know what also services as a Xin Zhao counter? Jax still exists. Pretty good champ as well. But like early picking Trundle like this is like completely selling you. Like the value of the Trundle this game was like negative.
Yeah, it's like this. It's
Negative.
great. It's a great pick in a vacuum, and then you need to put. You know, it's like the Trundle into Xin Zhao is so good. And then you need to put the Trundle into Galio, Jhin, Karma, and Mordekaiser, and suddenly it doesn't look so great anymore.
Yeah, so that's my little PSA about Trundle. He needs to be more of a counter pick. Like, you have to pick this in the mindset that it is a counter pick rather than, and not a counter pick to a jungler, a counter pick to like a tank or something, so your ultimate gets a lot of value. And also, Plan B didn't itemize in a way for the Trundle to get any value, right? Like, there was no like heavy resist coming out of this Galio for the Trundle to steal. Just a AP Galio game. So again, well played to Ember. I don't want to dwell on things too much. Lane Zero definitely already feeling bad as it is losing this. So congrats to Ember, and I'm gonna give it off to When It Rains in case they need to say anything. Other than that, good night, everyone.
I do not. Yeah, exactly what was said. Great games by honestly both teams. It was at least entertaining to watch, but really nice job by Phantom5.
All right. Well, folks, I've been Ozzy, joined by When It Rains, and of course, production done by Call Me Soul. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you to, of course, all the players that make this possible. And of course, thank you to my co-caster and my producer. And we will see you maybe sometime. I don't know. I might not ever see you again. Who knows? Peace. Bye.